Welcome back to part 5 of What If Sasuke Killed Sakura After They Sealed Kaguya. Make sure to like and subscribe as it motivates me to upload more videos in the future, and as always, link to the fanfiction is in the description. What did you just say, Naruto? Sakura asked, anger seeping into her voice. I said I have a promise to keep, Naruto said with a raised eyebrow. Naruto yelped in pain when Sakura suddenly pulled on his ear. You just want to go to Oni no Kuni so you can sleep with Shion, you little pervert. Sakura accused as she continued to pull on Naruto's ear. The pink-haired Kunoichi glared at Naruto when she released his ear. We are not taking a detour just so you can fuck a priestess. Aw shit. Sakura-chan, that hurt, Naruto said as he rubbed his sore ear. But I did make a promise, Sakura-chan, and I always keep my promises. I don't give a shit, Sakura exclaimed, as her anger slowly grew. We're on a mission, and we can't be wasting time. We already made one detour, we're not making another one. But it wouldn't take too long, Sakura-chan, Naruto said, trying to convince Sakura. We're really close to Oni no Kuni. It would take 2 days at the longest. Then we can get right back on track. I said. Sakura tried to say something, but she was cut off by Ryuzetsu. Wait, what the hell is going on? Why the hell are you two arguing? Ryuzetsu questioned with a confused look on her face. Because I've seen you two fights lots of times, but they were always just little spats. Then you guys would make up like 10 minutes later. But you seem like you're genuinely pissed, Sakura, so what's up? Sakura huffed and crossed her arms over her chest. I'm also curious as to why you're so upset at Naruto-kun. Hinata said as she poked her index fingers together, a faint blush painting her cheeks. Yeah, what the hell has your panties in a bunch? Anko said as she picked her teeth with a kunai. Fine, Sakura suddenly exclaimed. If you want to know so bad, I'll tell you. Sakura took a deep breath to calm herself, before she started speaking. It was about a year ago, shortly after Naruto returned to the village. Naruto, Lee, Neji, and I were assigned a mission to protect a priestess named Shion. A demon named Morio was trying to take over the world, but he needed his old body back first. Shion was the only person who could seal Morio away. So he sent 4 assassins after her. Sakura explained as she shrugged her shoulders. Long story short, we beat the bad guys and Morio was sealed away. Sakura then turned to glare at Naruto, who visibly flinched under her harsh gaze. Then after we do all this, Shion mentions something about passing on her powers. She basically asked Naruto to have sex with her, and get her pregnant. Then this baka agreed without even thinking. He probably didn't even know what she was talking about. Sakura finished with a sigh. Hey, Naruto exclaimed, I did know what she meant. Oh, did you now? Sakura yelled as she started to glare at him again, her fists glowing blue as chakra flowed off them. I mean I had no idea what she was saying. Why, you know me, I'm so stupid sometimes. Naruto stuttered out, as he shrunk away from Sakura's growing anger. Now do you see why I'm so pissed? Sakura exclaimed as she turned back to the rest of the group. I say let the Gaki have his fun. Anko said as she continued to pick her teeth. What? You can't be serious. Sakura yelled, as she looked at Anko incredulously. I just don't see what the big deal is. Anko said, as she put her kunai away. We head to Oni no Kuni, the Gaki knocks up that priestess, and then we're on our merry way. It's not like this priestess doesn't want the Gaki to fuck her. I can't believe what I'm hearing, Sakura said as she turned to the other girls. You all can't be okay with this. I'm with Anko on this one, forehead. Ino said as she pushed a couple platinum blonde locks out of her eye. Just let Naruto-kun have his dirty fun, then we can get back to the mission. How did I know you'd agree with Anko? Sakura said as she pinched the bridge of her nose. Tamari, Tenten, what about you two? I don't really care, as long as Naruto comes back to us. Tenten said as she adjusted the large scroll on her back. Yeah, I'm with Tenten. Tamari said with a small smile. Sakura, we have made marks, it's not like Naruto is gonna leave us. We're all bound together by these marks. I know that, Sakura said in a defeated tone. I trust Naruto completely, and I know he'd never leave us. But I just don't want this to cause some incident, and have Naruto risk his chances at becoming Hokage. His dreams are my dreams too, and I want to see his dreams come true. Sakura, something like this just happened with Yugito back in Kumo, and we got out of that situation just fine. If anything happens we'll all back Naruto up, and make sure nothing happens to him. We all will make sure that his dream stays within his reach. Konan said with a smile, as she placed her hand on Sakura's shoulder. Sakura sighed, and turned her head to look at Naruto. The blonde Jinchuriki was standing away from her. His head was turned away from her, as he rubbed his arm sheepishly. The pink-haired Kunoichi gently brushed Konan's hand off her shoulder, and walked up to Naruto. Sakura stopped right in front of the Jinchuriki, and she took one of his hands. She quickly gave his hand a short squeeze. After a few moments, Naruto slowly turned his head to look at her. "I'm sorry for flipping out on you," Sakura apologized, as she gave his hand another soft squeeze. She took his hand and slowly guided it to her slightly bulging stomach. "I know you'd never even think about leaving us, Naruto. Our children prove your commitment to all of us. But that's not why I was upset. I just didn't want you to get in trouble, and put your dream of becoming Hokage in jeopardy." Naruto's eyes widened when he heard Sakura say this. "I made a promise during the war. I promised myself that I would help you achieve your dreams at all costs." Sakura said as tears built up in her eyes. Naruto gasped slightly when Sakura's other hand gently ran over a scar on his side. The blonde Jinchuriki didn't know how or why, but this particular scar never faded away or disappeared, like all his other scars had. A small smile graced Sakura's face when she noticed his reaction to her touch. "You still have a scar here, don't you?" Sakura asked, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow. "How did you know I had a scar there?" Naruto asked with a confused look on his face. "I'm the one who gave you that scar," Sakura answered, as a single tear fell from both her eyes. "What do you mean?" Naruto asked, as he wiped the forming tears from Sakura's eyes. "It was during the war, just after Kurama was extracted from your body," Sakura said, as tears once again filled her eyes. Naruto was surprised when Sakura suddenly buried her head into his chest. He could already feel his jacket dampening from her tears. Doing the only thing he could, Naruto pulled Sakura closer and wrapped his arms around her. "You were dying, Naruto," Sakura finally said after a few moments. Naruto's eyes widened when he heard this. His grasp on Sakura tightened slightly. Everyone, except for Konan, Shisui, and Ryuzetsu, had sad looks on their faces. They all could vividly remember the day that Naruto had almost died. "Gaara was flying us to your father, so that he could seal Kurama's yin half inside you. But your heartbeat, it was so weak, and it was getting weaker and slower by the second. I was doing everything I could help you hang on, but nothing I did was working," Sakura explained, as tears continued to pour from her eyes. Every few seconds she would have to stop and choke back a sob before she continued. "Eventually my chakra started to run out, but we still hadn't reached your father yet. Your heart was stopping, and I was getting really desperate. So I did the only thing I could think of. I cut a hole in your side, and manually pumped your heart with my hand while I gave you CPR." Sakura suddenly launched her arms around Naruto, and held him tightly. "I made a promise on that day, as I pumped your heart. I promised that your dreams were my dreams as well. There was no way I was going to let you die when you were so close to achieving your dreams. I have no idea how long I performed CPR for, but we eventually found your father and sealed Kurama's yin half inside you," Sakura said, as her hands fisted the back of Naruto's jacket. I thought you were going to die that day, Naruto. I was so scared that I would lose you. But after that day I swore that protecting you and your dreams were my new goal. I will protect you at all costs, Naruto, especially now that we have a children on the way." "Thank you, Sakura-chan," Naruto whispered as he buried his face into her pink hair. "You have no idea how much I love you right now. I love you so much, Naruto," Sakura whispered, as she released Naruto and looked into his blue eyes. Sakura leaned in and gently kissed Naruto. It was gentle and passionate kiss, that showed the strong love they showed for each other. "Ah, that's so sweet, my teeth might rot," Enko said with a smirk. "Damn it, Enko, why do you always have to ruin the mood?" Sakura exclaimed, as spun around to face the snake mistress. "Oh, someone's feisty," Enko said with a grin, as she licked her lips. "I like my women feisty. Maybe while Naruto's off with that priestess you and I can have some fun." Sakura immediately blushed, and turned her head away from Anko. So Pinky, are we going to Oni no Kuni or not? Because it's getting late, and I'd rather not do any traveling by night. Anko said, as she gestured to the setting sun. Sakura turned to face the rest of the group. Are you all okay with this? Sakura asked, earning nods from everyone. Alright then, I guess we're heading to Oni no Kuni. Thanks Sakura-chan, Naruto said as he put his arm around Sakura's shoulders. Yeah, I guess it would be nice to see Shion again too. Sakura said, as a smile graced her face. Well, let's hit the road, the Gaki has a priestess to fuck. Anko cheered, making everyone else groan. Why did you pick her to be one of your mates again? Ryuzetsu asked, as she rubbed her temples. Naruto smiled, as he gazed at Anko. Anko is unique, and she understands the pain and loneliness I went through. Naruto said, as his eyes fixed themselves to Anko's toned legs. Plus she's sexy as hell. Well, she's unique, I'll give you that. Ryuzetsu said, as she adjusted her Jonin vest. You talkin' about me back there, Gaki? Anko asked without turning around, but she did have a smirk across her face. Because if I found out you're bad-mouthing me, I'll show all the nasty things my snakes can do. Of course we're not saying anything bad about you, Anko-chan. Naruto said with a nervous smile. That's what I thought. Anko said, as she turned around to face Naruto. Now why don't you come up here and talk with me for a bit? Sure thing Anko-chan. Naruto said as he walked up next to the snake mistress. Calm down Gaki, I don't bite hard. Anko whispered the last part into Naruto's ear, causing a shiver to run down his spine. I think Naruto might be a masochist. Temari whispered to Tenten, earning a nod from the bun-haired girl. Wouldn't surprise me the way he lets Sakura beat him around sometimes. Tenten said with a smirk. I might have to get some new toys if Naruto likes to play a little rough. Sakura sighed, and tan her hand down her face. I'm completely surrounded by perverts. Sakura thought with a groan. Oh shut up, I know you love it. Inner Sakura said with a grin. I know what Anko said defiantly got you excited. Shut up, Sakura thought as her face flushed bright red. Whatever, I know you want to. Inner Sakura said with a smirk before she disappeared. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Sakura thought, as she watched Anko's swaying hips. Noon the next day, Oni no Kuni. Shion, priestess of Oni no Kuni, kneeled in the temple that she lived in. Her eyes were closed as she meditated. Sensing another person enter the room, Shion opened her pink eyes and sighed. What do you want? Shion asked without turning around. I'm sorry to bother you during your meditation Shion-sama, but someone is here to see you. A guard said, as he kneeled before Shion. Tell them to go away, I don't wish to be disturbed right now. Shion said as she stood up, and started to leave the room. But the person said they know you. The guard said, making Shion stop mid-step. What does this person look like? Shion asked, as she turned to face the guard. There were actually a lot of people, but the boy who asked to see you had spiked blonde hair and whisker marks on his face. The guard answered, making Shion's eyes widen in shock. Was his Naruto? Shion asked, as she rushed towards the guard. I think so. The guard said just as Shion stopped in front of him. Then send him in here immediately. Shion exclaimed, causing the guard to rush out of the room. Shion walked back over to where she had been kneeling, and sat down. Her heart pounded rapidly in her chest, as excitement raced through her body. Could it really be Naruto? She hadn't seen him in almost a year. Why was he here? Did he come to keep his promise to her? Suddenly Shion sensed several people approaching. She immediately sat up straight, and turned to face the doorway. After a few moments a familiar face poked its head into the doorway. Shion couldn't help the smile that spread across her face when she saw Naruto grinning at her. Hey Shion, Naruto exclaimed, a massive fox-like grin on his face, as he stepped into the room. It's been a long time, hasn't it? It sure has Naruto, Shion said with a smile as she stood up. They both walked forward and embraced each other. I missed you Naruto, Shion said as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck. I missed you too Shion. I would have come and visited, but you know I had to fight in the war. Naruto said with a cheeky grin. Hey, you guys can come in now. Shion was surprised when a large group of people walked into the room. Shion, you remember Sakura right? Naruto asked, as Sakura walked up next to Naruto. Of course, Shion said sweetly. How are you, Sakura-san? I'm doing well, Shion, thanks for asking. Sakura said with a smile of her own. It was then that Shion noticed Sakura's slightly distended stomach. So, Sakura, who's the lucky man? Shion asked with a mischievous look. What are you? Sakura then followed Shion's gaze, and immediately blushed. Oh, that. Naruto is the father, we're having triplets actually. Oh, Shion said as her face fell. Sakura quickly nudged Naruto, and gestured to the other girls. Shion, I'd also like to introduce you to my future wives. Naruto said as Ino, Hinata, Anko, Tenten, Temari, Konan, and Ryuzetsu gathered around Naruto. Shion's pink eyes immediately widened, as she gazed at Naruto in shock. Future wives. Shion stuttered out, as her hope rose a little. Yep, Naruto said with a massive grin. Tsunade Bachan put me under the Clan Restoration Act, so I can take on multiple wives to help bring back my clans. All my girls here are actually pregnant. The blonde Jinchuriki chuckled a little. In less than a year I'm gonna be a dad. That's great news, Naruto. Shion said with a bright smile. Again Sakura nudged Naruto, but this time she gestured to Shion. Oh, Shion, the reason I'm here is to keep that promise I made you. Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head. What? Shion squeaked out, as her eyes widened. You asked me help pass your powers down to the next generation. Naruto said as he took a step closer. Shion fumbled over her words, as her face burned bright red. However, Shion was caught completely off guard when Naruto closed the distance between them, and gently captured her lips. Her eyes widened momentarily, before she closed them and leaned into the kiss. When Naruto pulled back, Shion's eyes were half-lidded, and filled with lust. Why don't we take this to the bedroom? Naruto whispered into Shion's ear. She shivered at his lust-filled tone. Quickly nodding, Shion grabbed Naruto and led him towards her room. Well, I'm gonna look around. Ino said as she walked towards the door. Anyone wanna come with me? Everyone nodded and followed after Ino. But before Sakura leave the room they were in, she found herself pinned against the wall. She gasped when she saw Anko holding her wrists. Anko, what the hell are you doing? Sakura hissed at the snake mistress. I wasn't joking earlier, Anko said as she nibbled on Sakura's ear, causing the pinkett to let out a soft moan. I want to have some fun with you. Anko, we can't, Sakura weakly protested. Why's that? Anko asked in a sultry tone, as she planted kisses on Sakura's neck. Sakura couldn't help the moans that were starting to escape. Anko seemed to be hitting all her sweet spots, and it was driving her crazy. Sakura gasped when Anko's lips left her neck, and found themselves planted her own lips. After a moment of hesitation, Sakura started to return Anko's kiss with just as much passion. Sakura stifled a moan when Anko forced her tongue into her mouth. Anko quickly dominated the kiss, and used her experienced tongue to explore the pinkett's mouth. After a few more moments, Anko pulled away, much to Sakura's displeasure. Both their eyes were clouded with lust as they stared at each other. Why don't we find some place a little more private? Anko said as she grabbed Sakura's hand. The pinkett could only nod dumbly, as Anko dragged her along. Anko had a wicked smile on her face as she pulled Sakura into a guest bedroom. Shion gently held Naruto's hand as she quickly led him through the temple halls. Eventually they found themselves in Shion's master bedroom. Well, here it is, Shion said as she gestured around her room. So how do you? Shion was cut off when Naruto once again captured her lips. Don't talk, just follow your instincts. Naruto said as he started to suck on Shion's neck. The priestess gasped when she felt Naruto's lips on her neck. Naruto quickly trailed kisses up Shion's neck, leaving marks all along the way. He quickly pulled off her yellow jacket. The Jinchuriki then took off his orange jacket, and threw it somewhere across the room. Shion made the next move. Stepping forward, she locked lips with Naruto once again. This time, however, she licked Naruto's bottom lip. He immediately granted her tongue entrance into her mouth. Their tongues quickly intertwined, as both their hands started to wander. Shion ran her fingers through Naruto's golden blonde locks, before she moved her hands down to his toned chest. She moaned into the kiss when she felt his hard muscles. Shion lemon scene. While this was happening, Kurama was screaming within his seal. You fucking Gaki. Listen to me. Kurama roared, trying to get Naruto's attention. Something is blocking our connection. I can't hear you anymore. You're running out of chakra much quicker than usual, and it's taking you longer to replenish it. Kurama sighed and lowered his head. It's no use, he can't hear me. Something extremely strong is blocking our link, and it's seriously limiting the amount of chakra he can get from me. But it seems that his mates can still receive my chakra just fine. Kurama sighed again, and rested his head on his arms. Naruto, what the hell is separating us? 4 hours later, Naruto stood at the entrance to temple with the rest of his group behind him. Shion stood in front of him, smiling brightly as she placed a hand over her stomach. So you really have to leave? Shion asked with a sad smile. Yeah, but I'll come visit you, Naruto said as he ran his hand over Shion's stomach. Especially since we got a bundle of joy heading our way. Thank you again for doing this, Naruto. Shion said as she hugged Naruto. It was my pleasure, Naruto said with a smirk, which earned him a smack in the arm from Shion. Naruto pulled out a 3-pronged kunai and handed it to Shion. I did the same thing with a kunoichi and kumo, Naruto said as Shion took the kunai. If you ever want to see me, or need me, just pump a little chakra into the kunai's seal, and I'll be your side in a moment. Thank you, Naruto, Shion said as she clutched the kunai to her heart. I'm sure I'll be using it in the future. Well, we better get going, Naruto said as he slung his pack over his shoulder. Everyone ready? Wait, where's Sakura and Anko? As soon as the words left Naruto's mouth, Anko came from around the corner. Everyone was surprised to see Anko carrying a sleeping Sakura on her back. Where were you two? Naruto asked when Anko caught up with the group. Oh, Sakura tired while we explored the temple. So I found her a place to lay down, but Ms. Princess wouldn't wake up, so I had to carry her back here. Anko explained as she adjusted Sakura on her back. Oh, okay, Naruto said with a shrug of his shoulders. Let's get going then. Anko smirked when Naruto turned his back to her. Sakura's words from earlier suddenly filling her mind. Anko shivered as she remembered their pleasurable experience. That girl was a damn sadist, and I loved it. Anko thought as she licked her lips. I can't wait until we get to do that again. Bye, Shion, Naruto exclaimed as his group started to walk out of the temple. Goodbye, Naruto, Shion called back, as she waved to Naruto's group. When Naruto's group had disappeared into the distance, Shion pressed a hand to her stomach and smiled. You're really in there, aren't you? Shion said with a warm smile. Her gaze then fell to the 2 rings on her arm. Naruto had explained to Shion what the marks meant, and she couldn't have been more happy. Naruto, Shion whispered as she gazed off into the direction Naruto's group had left in. I think I love you. So we're on our way to Takigakure? Sai asked Naruto. Yep, Takigakure hosts the Nanabi. Naruto said as he placed his hands behind his head. We should be there in about 2 more days. Sai nodded, and Naruto dropped bag to where Anko was. The snake mistress was still carrying an unconscious Sakura on her back. Naruto smirked as he walked next to Anko. What's so funny, Gaki? Anko asked when she noticed Naruto's smirk. When were you gonna tell me? Naruto asked with a wicked grin. Anko flinched, but she quickly composed herself. Tell you about what? Anko asked, feigning ignorance. About you and Sakura. Naruto replied with a knowing look. How did you? Anko asked in complete shock. Naruto simply tapped a finger to his nose. You two reek of sex, and each other. Naruto said as he inhaled deeply. It's actually quite alluring. It was now Anko's turn to smirk. Well, you're free to join us anytime you want. Because I definitely plan on doing that with Sakura a lot more. Anko said as she sped up her walking. I love you girls, Naruto said with a grin before he ran to catch up to Anko. 3 days later, en route to Takigakure. 3 days after their detour to Oni no Kuni, Naruto's group found themselves on the path to Takigakure. It was along this path that the group decided to stop and have a break in a clearing slightly off the beaten path. Everyone set down their packs, and picked a spot to sit and rest. Man, it feels good to sit down and relax, Tenten said with a content sigh, as leaned against a tree and sunk to the ground. We've been walking for hours. You can say that again, my feet are killing me. Ino groaned out, as she rubbed her sore feet. Well, Well, looks like you're finally starting to show. Tenten said with a smile, as she looked at Ino's slightly swelling stomach. You can still barely notice mine. Oh, give it some more time, and you'll start to show. Ino reassured Tenten with a warm smile. Then a smirk spread across Ino's face, as she turned her head to look at Sakura. The pink-haired medic had just sat down, and was closing her eyes to try and catch a little sleep. I mean, look at forehead and Hinata. They're both starting to swell up like balloons. Ino teased just loud enough so Sakura could hear. Watch it, Ino pig, Sakura hissed, as she opened one eye to look at Ino. Or I'll come over there and pummel you. Sure, I'd like to see you try that forehead. Ino shot back with a smirk, as she waved Sakura off dismissively. That's it, Sakura exclaimed, as a vein bulged on her head. When we're done with our pregnancies, I want a rematch. I'll fight you anytime, forehead, just name the time and place. Ino said with a grin. You better get ready, Sakura, because I'm not gonna go easy on you. You wouldn't be my rival if you went easy on me, pig, Sakura said, as she placed a hand on her bicep and flexed slightly. I'm not gonna hold back either. Both girls glared at each other intensely for a few moments, but they both suddenly burst out laughing. However, after a few moments Sakura stopped laughing, and put on a serious face. I wasn't joking, Ino, Sakura said in a serious tone. I want to have a rematch with you. I wasn't joking either, Sakura, Ino said with a wolfish smirk. Name the time and place, and I'll gladly fight you. Naruto watched Sakura and Ino banter with a sad smile on his face. The two girls reminded him of how Sasuke and he used to act. Naruto sighed, and looked up into the clear blue sky. You stupid Tem, why did things have to turn out this way? I'm sorry I had to kill you, but you gave me no choice. You were like a brother to me, but you betrayed me and Sakura-chan. I really wish things could have turned out differently between us. Naruto thought, as he closed his eyes and rested his head against the tree. But the blonde Jinchuriki was interrupted when a voice spoke up next to him. You were thinking about Sasuke, weren't you? Naruto sighed and opened his eyes. He quickly spotted Sai standing next to him. The dark-haired man looked down at Naruto with a blank look on his face. Yeah, I was thinking about Sasuke, Naruto replied, as he ran his hands through his blonde hair. I was just thinking about how things could have turned out differently. I understand, but you shouldn't dwell on the past. You did the right thing, Sasuke needed to be stopped, Sai said, earning another sigh from Naruto. You know, for a guy who isn't very good with his emotions, you sure know how to read people, Naruto said, causing Sai to smile. Well, I do read a lot of books on human emotions. Plus I've always kept a close eye on how people interacted to study their reactions and emotions, Sai explained, as he pulled out a book about how to understand a girl's emotions. But I always seem to have a hard time reading girls' emotions. Females are very strange. TCH, you can say that again, Naruto said with a chuckle. Well, I feel like stretching my legs. Do you wanna spar, Sai? Not right now, Naruto. I have a drawing I've been wanting to start, and now is the perfect time to start it, Sai answered, as he pulled out a scroll, a brush, and an inkwell. Well, alright then, I'm gonna see if Choji or Shisui wants to spar, Naruto said before he walked off to find the two other male members of his team. After searching around, Naruto found Choji sitting underneath a large tree. The Akamichi was riffling through his pack, and pulling out various snack foods. Choji had just opened a bag of chips when Naruto stopped in front of him. Hey Choji, Naruto exclaimed with a large smile. Hey Naruto, Choji said before he ate a handful of chips. What can I do for ya? Nothing, I just came by to check up on you, Naruto said, as he sat next to Choji. Well, that's nice of you, Naruto, but I'm fine, Choji said, as he rubbed the back of his head. Actually, Naruto said, as he quickly looked around to make sure no one was watching them. I wanted to ask you what happened with Karui. Choji nearly choked on the chips in his mouth, his entire face burned bright red in embarrassment. He gulped and turned his head to see Naruto smirking at him. The blonde Jinchuriki's smirk widened, as he scooted closer to Choji. So what happened? Naruto continued. Come on man, give me some details. It's none of your business, Choji stuttered out, as his face turned an ever brighter shade of red. You don't have to tell me everything, just give me the basics. Naruto said, trying to convince Choji. Give me something. Why do you want to know so bad? Choji asked, as he raised an eyebrow. It's just that you two kinda seem like an unlikely couple. Naruto reeled back when Choji suddenly shot him a glare. What I meant was that you guys hadn't met until we got to Kumo. Then after you two hung out a few times, you end up hooking up before we left Kumo. I'm just a little curious. Karui and I didn't hook up before we left, Choji said, making Naruto raise a blonde eyebrow. What do you mean you two didn't hook up? She seemed pretty into you when we left, Naruto said in a confused tone. I mean we kissed twice, but we never did, you know. Choji explained as he rubbed his arm in embarrassment, while his face blushed madly. Oh, I see now. So did you two go on any dates or anything? Naruto asked, causing Choji to shift uncomfortably. After you had me drag Karui out of the hotel room, I took her to a couple restaurants. We started talking, and we really hit it off, Choji answered, as he started to feel a little more comfortable. After that she asked me if I wanted to hang out later that night. I agreed, and that night she showed me around Kumo and we talked some more. At the end of the night, before she left, I asked her out on an actual date. Wait, Naruto exclaimed with wide eyes. You asked her out? Yeah, Choji replied with a confused look. What's wrong with that? Nothing, I just thought that Karui would be the one to ask you out. Naruto replied, as he scratched his head. The blonde Jinchuriki suddenly crossed his legs, and gave Choji his undivided attention. Sorry for interrupting, please continue. Okay, Choji said, still slightly confused. Well, I asked her out, and she said yes. So what did you guys do? Naruto asked, fully intrigued. Nothing too special, Choji answered as he shrugged his shoulders. I went over to her place, and cooked her dinner. You can cook? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, I used to cook for our team all the time when we were on missions. Ino, Shikamaru, and Asuma-sensei all love my cooking, Choji explained, causing Naruto to grin. Then you'll have to make me dinner sometime. I'll be happy to cook for you guys anytime, Choji said with a smile. As long as I get to eat some. Sounds like a plan, Naruto said, returning the smile. So did you and Karui do anything else on that date? Well, after we ate, I took her on a walk through the village. I told her about my life in Konoha, and she told me her life in Kumo. Choji explained, as his face started to turn red again. After walking for a while, we found a spot and watched the sunset. Then Karui told me that she really liked me. Choji started to stutter, as his blush deepened. I kinda got lost in her eyes, and we both started to lean forward. Then we kissed for a little bit. After we kissed I walked her home, and asked her if she wanted to go on another date. She agreed, and I guess you can kinda figure out the rest. Naruto stifled a chuckle, as he watched Choji stutter in embarrassment. He looked like a little kid who just had to retell the most embarrassing moment of his life. His face was so red, Naruto thought that he might pass out. The blonde Jinchuriki smiled, and slapped Choji on the back. Well, good for you, man, Naruto exclaimed. Even though Karui is a total bitch to me, I can still tell that she's a nice girl. Karui is real tough too, kinda reminds me of Sakura-chan. And damn does she pack a mean punch. Thanks, Naruto, Choji said with a chuckle. So is there anything else you wanted? Actually, I wanted to know if you wanted to do a little sparring, Naruto exclaimed, as he shot to his feet. I need to blow off a little steam. Sorry, Naruto, but I'm exhausted from all the walking we've been doing, Choji said, instantly making Naruto deflate. Maybe some other time. Alright, Naruto said in a deflated tone. Thanks for telling me about you and Karui. I guess I'll go see if Shisui wants to spar. Choji couldn't help but sweat drop, as he watched Naruto walk off with his shoulders slumped and his head down. The blonde Jinchuriki left Choji to go and find Shisui. Naruto searched for the Uchiha, and found him sitting underneath a tree slightly away from the rest of the group. Shisui appeared to be writing something. Hey Shisui, Naruto said as he approached the Uchiha. What are you doing all the way over here? Oh hello Naruto, Shisui said, putting what he had been writing down. I was just writing some mission reports to Hokage-sama. Naruto picked up one of the pieces of paper, and began to read it. But what Naruto started to read wasn't a mission report, it appeared to be a letter. Shisui, this isn't a mission report. Naruto said, as he showed Shisui the paper he had been reading. Oh, that's a letter I was writing to Itachi. Shisui explained, as he took the letter back from Naruto. I've been trying to keep in touch with him, while we're on this mission. So has anything happened since we've left the village? Naruto asked, as he took a seat next to Shisui. A few things actually, Shisui answered, pulling out a few old letters from his pack. Apparently the village started construction of the police station last week. We've already got over a dozen officers, but they work out of the Hokage Tower for right now. Itachi says the police force has already managed to cut down on the crime rate in the village. Plus the other shinobi and Anbu are quite happy now that they don't have to deal with petty crimes. Wow, that's pretty impressive, Naruto commented. Itachi and Obito must be doing a very good job, so anything else? Let's see, Shisui replied as he read through the old letters. Well, Rin started working at the hospital 2 weeks ago, and she's being retrained by Tsunade-sama and Shizune. Well, that's great to hear. I just hope Rin can survive Ba-chan's training. Naruto said, as a shiver ran down his spine. I know she won't be going through the same training Sakura-chan did. But I know how harsh Ba-chan can be at times. What else did Itachi have to say? Shisui said, as he scanned through the letters. Apparently Kakashi-sama and Shizune have officially started dating, same thing with Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama. That's no surprise to me. Naruto said with a grin. I know Ba-chan gives Ero-sennin a hard time, but I know that he means a lot to her. I just hope that they're happy together. I also kinda had a feeling that Kakashi-sensei and Shizune would hook up too. Shizune always gave Kakashi-sensei these looks and glances. I knew it was just a matter of time before they got together. Oh, I forgot about this, Shisui said with a smirk as he read a particular letter. Apparently Itachi found a girl too. Really? Naruto exclaimed wide-eyed. Who is it? Let's see, Shisui replied as he read through the letter. Here it is, her name is Karen Uzumaki. Hey wait, doesn't that mean she's related to you? Naruto chalked on his own breath he heard this. He quickly yanked the letter out of Shisui's hand, and began to read it. The blonde Jinchuriki's fists clenched as he continued to read the letter. He better not hurt her. Naruto said with a hint of anger in his voice. Naruto, you need to calm down a little. Itachi would never hurt Karen. Shisui reassured Naruto, as he placed a hand his shoulder. I know, Naruto said in a quiet tone. I'm just really protective with my precious people. Especially Karen, since I only recently found out that we're related. She's the only living Uzumaki family I have left, she's like a sister to me. So I want to keep her safe. You have nothing to worry about, Naruto. Itachi will keep her safe. Shisui said with a smile, as he put the old letters away. Well, if there's nothing else, I have to get back to this mission report. Actually, I wanted to see if we could possibly spar a little. Naruto said, as he stood up. I haven't really had a chance to practice my moves since I sparred with Gaara back in Suna. Shisui looked down at the half-finished mission report. He then looked back at Naruto, who was grinning down at him. With a sigh, Shisui stood back up. What the hell, why not? I can always finish those mission reports later. Shisui said with a grin of his own. Alright, follow me, I found a clearing not too far from here. Naruto cheered, as he sprinted off into the woods. Geez, that kid has way too much energy to burn. Shisui said to himself before he followed after Naruto. About 2 minutes later, Naruto stopped in the middle of a large clearing in the woods. Shisui sprinted into the clearing shortly after Naruto did. So what are the rules of this sparring session? Shisui asked as he stood across from Naruto. No offensive jutsus, Sharingan, Rinnegan, or Sage Mode. Other than that, anything is allowed. Naruto said, as he pulled out a kunai. So do you agree to these terms? Sure, Shisui answered as he rested a hand on his tanto. I'm ready when you are, Naruto. Naruto and Shisui stared each other down from opposite ends of the clearing. Naruto tightened the grip around his tanto, while Naruto did the same with his kunai. A sudden wind blew through the clearing. Naruto and Shisui's eyes hardened, as they glared at each other. Suddenly the wind died down, and both shinobi shot forward at an incredible speed. Uzumaki and Uchiha clashed in the middle of the clearing. Sparks flew as Naruto's kunai struck Shisui's tanto. After the initial clash, both Naruto and Shisui jumped backwards. When Naruto was a sufficient distance away, he quickly formed a familiar hand sign. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 Kage Bunshin appeared on either side of Naruto. Both clones were brandishing their own kunai. Naruto pulled out a second kunai, as he charged Shisui. The Uchiha looked unfazed by the introduction of Naruto's Kage Bunshin. The first clone blindly swung his kunai at Shisui, but Shisui saw this coming and ducked underneath the swing. Bringing his tanto up, Shisui stabbed the clone clean through his stomach. The Kage Bunshin gasped before it exploded into a cloud of smoke. Shisui was slightly caught off guard when the second clone burst through the smoke that was created by the first Kage Bunshin. But the Uchiha's reflexes were quick. Forming a lightning-fast hand sai, Shisui used a shunshin to teleport away. The Kage Bunshin stumbled forward as he swung at open air. Suddenly the Kage Bunshin got hit in the head with 3 shuriken, causing it to pop away in a cloud of smoke. Naruto followed where the shuriken had come from, and spotted Shisui standing in a tree just on the edge of the clearing. The Uchiha was smirking, as he twirled a shuriken around his index finger. A growl escaped Naruto's throat, as his body became encased with golden chakra. With his Biju mode activated, Naruto charged Shisui. Ah, it looks like he's getting serious now. Shisui thought, as he dodged a first of pure chakra. Shisui used another shunshin to dodge a barrage of chakra fists from Naruto. The blonde Jinchuriki spun around, and scanned the forest. Suddenly Naruto heard a noise behind him. He quickly spun around to see Shisui charging at him. The Uchiha threw a pair of kunai at Naruto, but a hand of pure chakra caught the kunai before they could reach Naruto. Shisui unseated his tanto, and prepared to swing at Naruto. Panting heavily, the blonde Jinchuriki took out his own kunai, and prepared to meet Shisui head-on again. But before the 2 shinobi clashed, Naruto's vision started to become blurry. Naruto fell to his hands and knees, as the golden chakra disappeared from around his body. The Jinchuriki was panting heavily, as sweat dripped from his brow. Naruto could faintly hear Shisui frantically calling out to him. The last thing Naruto felt before he fell unconscious was Shisui's hand on his shoulder. After that everything went completely black. When Naruto regained his consciousness, he could feel the tingle of healing chakra and the cool feel of a damp towel on his head. With a groan Naruto cracked his eyes open. He saw Sakura and Ino hovering over him, as their hands glowed green. The rest of his group was gathered around the 2 medics, as they examined Naruto. But when Sakura saw that Naruto's eyes were open she gasped, and instantly wrapped her arms around him. Naruto could feel a few of her tears land on his shoulder, as she hugged him. "You had us so worried," Sakura managed to say through her tears of relief. "Shisui just came running back here with you unconscious in his arms. He said you passed out while you 2 were sparring. You were so pale, Naruto." How long was I out for?" Naruto asked, as he rubbed his throbbing head. "You were out for about an hour, Gaki." Enko answered with a worried look. "Pinky is right, you had us all worried half to death." "Haha, sorry about that," Naruto said with a sheepish smile. "What happened, Naruto? Sakura and Ino couldn't find anything wrong with you?" Temari asked, as she crouched next to the blonde Jinchuriki. "Yeah," Sakura said, releasing Naruto, and quickly wiping away her tears. "Ino and I didn't find any signs of illness or poison, and nothing appeared to be wrong with your chakra flow, so what happened to you?" Naruto sighed and lowered his gaze to the ground. "I don't know exactly myself," Naruto explained as he clenched his fists. "I've just been getting exhausted so easily lately, and I seem to burn through my chakra so fast. Things like this have actually been happening since arrived in Kumo." "What?" Sakura exclaimed in an angry tone. "Something like this has been happening for almost 2 weeks, and you're just telling us about this now. You could be in danger, Naruto." "I know it was stupid of me," Naruto said, hanging his head. "I just didn't want to worry you guys." "Naruto, I get that you don't want us to worry, but this could be a very serious problem," Konan said, placing her hand on Naruto's shoulder. "We can't have you getting injured. Are you okay to walk?" Sakura asked with a huff. She was clearly still a little upset. "Because we're only a few hours away from Takigakure, and we'll be able to examine you better there." "Yeah, I'm fine now," Naruto said, standing up on shaky legs. "I'll just need to take it easy." "Well, if you're good to travel, we should get going." Ryuzetsu said, as she put on her pack. Actually there's one other thing that's been bothering me. Naruto said, placing a hand on his stomach. I haven't been able to talk to Kurama since we left Kumo. Everyone in the group gasped, and stopped dead in their tracks. What do you mean you can't talk with Kurama? Choji asked with a shocked look on his face. It's just like I said. I don't know if the furball is ignoring me, or if something is blocking our connection, but yeah, I haven't talked with him for almost 2 weeks. I can still access small amounts of his chakra, but it runs out extremely fast and it left me exhausted after I used it. Naruto explained, making everyone's eyes widen. That's it, Sakura exclaimed, as she grabbed Naruto's arm. We're ending this mission early, and taking you back to the village. Something is seriously wrong with you, and we need to examine you. Sakura-chan, we're almost halfway done with this mission, we're not going back. Naruto said in a determined tone. This mission is essential for me to become Hokage, so I will finish it. All I have to do is take it easy, and once we finish the mission you can examine me all you want. Sakura's emerald eyes met Naruto's blue eyes. An unspoken conversation went on, as they stared at each other. Sakura saw that Naruto wasn't going to budge on his decision. Sakura released a heavy sigh, and let go of Naruto's arm. Fine, we'll finish the mission. Sakura said, slinging her pack over her shoulder. You just better not get hurt. Thanks, Sakura-chan. Naruto said, giving Sakura a quick hug. I promise nothing bad will happen to me. You better be right, Yubaka. Sakura said, grasping Naruto's hand. Now let's get going, Takigakure is not too far from here. With that, the rest of the group packed their belongings, and followed Naruto and Sakura back onto the path towards Takigakure. 3 hours later, 5 p.m. After 3 hours of walking, Naruto's group spotted the gates to Takigakure ahead of them. The village was centered around a massive tree that towered over the surrounding forest. As the group approached the gates, several shinobi dropped down in front of them. State your names and business, the closest guard said, as he halted the group. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, I am a Konoha shinobi, and I'm here on a mission directly from the Hokage. May I speak with your village head, Shibuki? Naruto asked as the group showed the guards their identification papers. The guards took the papers from Naruto's group, and gave them all a look over. After eyeing the group for a few moments, one of the guards nodded, and the village gates opened. You may enter, but you must wait until we've notified Shibuki-sama. The guard said, leading Naruto's group into the village. Just don't cause any trouble, and remember you're being constantly monitored. With that warning, the guards all disappeared, leaving Naruto's group alone. Come on, Naruto, we need to do a better examination on you. Sakura said, dragging Naruto off towards an inn. The picket was followed closely behind by Ino and Hinata. We don't have long before the guards return to take you to Shibuki. So we have to get as much done as possible right now. Well, I guess that leaves the rest of us to do our own thing. Shisui said, as he scanned around the village. I'm gonna look around a little, and see if I can find anything interesting. I'm gonna do some training, anyone else wanna join me? Tenten asked the rest of the group. Sure, I'll go. Temari replied, resting a hand on her hip. I need to work on some of my jutsus. I too will join you. Sai said, as he walked up to Temari and Tenten. I haven't had much time to train, while on this mission. So it will be nice to practice some of my techniques. Well, let's find a good place to train then. Tenten said, walking off with Temari and Sai walking beside her. I guess I can see if this village's academy needs any assistance. Conan said, spotting the academy across the street. Do any of you wish to join me? I'll go with you. Ryuzetsu answered with a smile. It had so much fun helping those kids in Oto, I'd like to do something like that again. That's great to hear, Conan said, smiling at Ryuzetsu. Now let's go see if they could use our assistance. Well, I guess that just leaves you and me, big guy. Enko said with a grin. How about we find something to eat, because I'm starving. Sounds like a plan, Choji said with a massive smile. I see a place across the street that looks pretty good. You're reading my mind, buddy. Let's get some grub. Enko cheered, as she walked towards the restaurant with Choji in tow. In a tree just outside the village walls, a hooded figure watched Naruto's group disperse. The figure had an evil smirk on his face, when he saw Naruto be dragged off by Sakura. Well, looks like the Dobi finally hooked up with Sakura. It also looks like he's got a few other girls with him as well, interesting. The figure said as a gust of wind displaced the hood covering his head, revealing a pair of Sharingan eyes. Now that the experimental poison I took from Orochimaru's lab is in your system, all I have to do is wait. Over time the poison will continue to block the Kyuubi in you. It will also mess with your chakra reserves, making you run out of chakra much quicker than usual and makes it take longer to replenish your chakra. The poison will even affect his nature energy gathering for his sage mode. It's just a matter of time before I get my revolution, Naruto. I'll enjoy killing you and all the other Kage. Taking one last look at Naruto, the figure formed a hand sign, and disappeared from the tree in a swirl of leaves. 10 minutes later. Damn it. Sakura cursed as the green chakra faded from her hands. I can't find what's wrong with you, Naruto. It doesn't help that I don't know exactly what we're dealing with. I can't pick anything out. Either, Ino said, as the green healing chakra dissipated from her hands as well. Whatever is affecting you is something we've never encountered before. Hinata, do you see anything wrong? Sakura asked the Hyuga, who had her Byakugan activated. I see nothing out of the ordinary. Hinata said with a sigh, as she deactivated her Byakugan. Although it looked like it was taking his chakra reserves a long time to refill. That's strange, Sakura said, rubbing her chin. We'll have to wait until we get back to Konoha to do a more thorough examination. Maybe Shishu will have an idea as to what going with Naruto. I sure hope so. Ino was cut off when a few knocks were heard at the door. I guess I'll get that. Ino got up and opened the door. Standing in the doorway was one of the guards from earlier. Hello, I'm here to escort Uzumaki-san. He's to meet with Shibuki-sama immediately. Alright Naruto, go meet with Shibuki, and do your business. Sakura said, ushering Naruto towards the door. If you'll please follow me, Uzumaki-san. The guard said, walking down the hall. After a silent walk through the small village, Naruto eventually found himself at the village head's residence near the back of the village. The guard led Naruto through the residence, stopping in front of set of double doors. The guard raised his hand, and knocked on the door. Come in. A voice called out from inside the room. The guard opened the doors, and led Naruto inside the room. The blonde Jinchuriki spotted Shibuki sitting at desk, reading a scroll. The brown-haired man looked up from the scroll, and smiled when he saw Naruto. Ah, Naruto, it's been a while. Shibuki said, gesturing to the seats in front of him. Please take a seat. Thanks Shibuki, Naruto said with a smile of his own, as he sat down in the seat. You're dismissed, Shibuki said to the guard. The guard bowed, and walked out of the room. Now Naruto, what can I do for you? I'm on a mission from the Hokage. I've been tasked with going to each of the shinobi villages with Biju, and checking on their current situation. Naruto explained to Shibuki. Okay, well then let's get started, we have much to discuss. Shibuki said, pulling out several scrolls. 4 hours later, Shibuki had finished filling Naruto in on everything that had been happening in the village. Naruto was half asleep by the time Shibuki had finished. Well, that's pretty much everything. Shibuki said, snapping Naruto to attention. Is there anything you need to know, Naruto? Actually, do you know where Fu is? I need to speak with her. Naruto asked, earning a sad look from Shibuki. I'm sorry Naruto, Fu has been dead for quite some time. She was captured by the Akatsuki, and had her Biju extracted. Shibuki said with a sigh. I know most of the villagers despised Fu, but I always liked her. She had spunk, and loved to make friends. Actually, she was a lot like you, Naruto. She hasn't come back to village. Then I'll have to find her. Naruto said, standing up from his seat. Wait, Naruto, what are you talking about? Shibuki asked with a confused look. No time to explain. Naruto called out as he ran out of the room. I have to find her quick before she does something stupid. Naruto thought as he ran out of the village. Naruto stopped running just outside of the village. He quickly sat down, and started to gather nature energy. But Naruto immediately felt that something was off. He could tell that he was gathering nature energy at a much slower rate, and he was gathering less of it than usual. Shit, whatever is wrong with me is also affecting my sage mode. Naruto thought as he tried to concentrate on gathering nature energy. Eventually, after twice the normal amount of time, Naruto entered sage mode. The blonde Jinchuriki began to search for Fu's chakra. He found it almost immediately, and she wasn't too far away. Using his Sage Mode enhanced speed, Naruto took off after Fu. Following Fu's trail, Naruto found himself at a secluded waterfall. The water was clear, and the air was clean. Naruto scanned for Fu, and found her sitting with her feet in the water as she stared at her own reflection. Naruto slowly approached Fu so that he wouldn't startle her. He stopped just behind Fu. "Hey," Naruto said quietly, touching Fu's shoulder. The mint-haired girl gasped, and quickly spun around to face Naruto. "Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you." "Oh, it's you, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki," Fu said with a smile. "What was your name again?" "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto exclaimed with a grin, but Naruto's grin quickly faded. "Why are you all the way out here, Fu?" Fu sighed and turned back to stare at her reflection. She looked to be in deep thought, as she gazed into the water. "I don't know what to do," Fu said after a few moments. "Chome isn't sealed inside me anymore, so I should be able to go back to the village. But I'm afraid that they'll still hate me even if I don't have Chome sealed in me. I want to go back to the village, but I just have this feeling that everyone will still resent me." "I know how you feel," Naruto said with a sympathetic look. "I went through the same problem in my village." "You did?" Fu asked, turning back to face Naruto again. "Yeah, I did. I was hated by most of the villagers. But I persevered, and eventually won the villagers over," Naruto said, making Fu's eye widen. "You were able to make the villagers stop hating you?" Fu asked with a skeptical look. "It took a long time, but yes, I did eventually get the villagers to like me," Naruto answered with a smile. "And I know if you persevere, and show them how awesome you are, you can eventually get the villagers to like you too." "You really think I can?" Fu asked with a hopeful look. "I know you can, you just have to stick with it, and let anything drag you down," Naruto replied, making Fu smile. "Thanks, Naruto, that actually helped a lot," Fu said as she stood up. "I think I'll head back to the village. I'm sure Shibuki will be shocked to see me." "Oh, maybe I should play a prank on him for old time's sake." "Wait, Fu, before you head back, I have something I need to tell you," Naruto said as he grabbed Fu's shoulder. "What is it, Naruto?" Fu asked with a confused look. Naruto took a deep breath and looked Fu in the eyes. "Chome wants to be sealed back inside you," Naruto said, making Fu's eyes widen. "He wants you to be his Jinchuriki again." Fu couldn't even speak as her mind began to race. Should she give Chome another chance, or should she try to move on? Fu didn't know what to say, as Naruto waited for her answer. "Wait, Fu, before you head back, I have something I need to tell you," Naruto said as he grabbed Fu's shoulder. "What is it, Naruto?" Fu asked with a confused look. Naruto took a deep breath and looked Fu in her orange eyes. "Chome wants to be sealed back inside you," Naruto said, making Fu's eyes widen. "He wants you to be his Jinchuriki again." Fu stared at Naruto with wide eyes. Her mouth was agape, as she began to sputter incoherently. The former Jinchuriki had no idea what to say, as she continued to stare at Naruto. Her mind began to race, and she tried to comprehend the information she had just heard. Fu blinked several times, and a few moments later she released a heavy sigh. "I really don't know what to say, Naruto," Fu answered, as her shoulders sagged. "That's understandable, because this is a very big decision for you to make," Naruto said, patting Fu on the shoulder. "I'll let you think it over for a bit." Flashing Fu a quick smile, Naruto jumped out of the clearing to give Fu time to think. Alone once again, Fu groaned and walked back over to the small pond she had been soaking her feet in. Fu sat down and put her feet back into the water. She sighed and ran her fingers through her mint green hair. What should she do? She didn't have a bad relationship with the Biju that used sealed inside her, they mainly did their own things. But because the Biju had been sealed inside her, it caused her to be resented by the people in her village. She was an outcast, and lived a hard life because of the Biju. But now that Chome was no longer sealed inside her, she could possibly start over and live a normal life. Fu looked at her reflection in the water with an estranged look. What if her village still didn't accept her, even when she didn't have a demon sealed inside her? Then she would no place to go. Fu's eyes dropped and a sad look spread across her face, as she remembered how coldly the villagers used to treat her. She then remembered Naruto's words. How he was able to win over the people in his village, and eventually become loved. But Naruto was a war hero, and had saved his village several times. Fu hadn't saved her village from certain destruction, and she might be decent shinobi but she was no hero like Naruto. Fu couldn't decide on what path to choose, both of her options had pros and cons. Whatever decision Fu made would change her life for better or worse. However, Fu was shaken from her thoughts by a voice on the other side of the pond. "Boy, do I know that look very well," Naruto said with a slight chuckle. Fu looked up to see the blonde Jinchuriki sitting across from her, on the other side of the small pond. "I'd get the same look on my face whenever the people in my village called me a demon. You know, you and I are actually very similar," Naruto said with a toothy grin, causing Fu to raise an eyebrow. "I bet you pulled a bunch of pranks when you were younger to get attention, am I right?" Naruto asked, making Fu's eyes widen. A sad smile spread across Naruto's face, as he stared at his own reflection in the water. "Back then any attention, no matter how bad it was good enough for me." Naruto suddenly stood up and walked across the water towards Fu. The blonde Jinchuriki sat down next to Fu, and smiled at her. Fu was amazed by Naruto's deep blue eyes. There was no hint of sadness or anger in them. Only a comforting warmth that made Fu's heart flutter. Naruto wrapped his arm around Fu and pulled her close. Fu stiffened at first, but she eventually relaxed and actually moved closer to Naruto. "I persevered through all the hate, and eventually I made friends," Naruto said, remembering his days in the academy. "The first person to really treat me like an actual person was one of my academy teachers, Uruka-sensei. He was like a father to me. Yeah, it was the same for me and Shibuki," Fu admitted, a small smile spreading across her face. "Everyone in the village treated me like crap except for Shibuki. He always looked out for me, and made sure that I was taken care of." Fu sighed and looked back to the water. "Like you and Uruka, Shibuki was like the father that I never had. But he was so damn overprotective. I was usually kept isolated, and was rarely allowed to leave the village." "Really? But I thought you were a shinobi. Some of your missions had to outside of the village," Naruto said with a surprised look. "Those were the only times I was allowed out of the village, and even then the mission had to be pre-approved by Shibuki," Fu explained with a huff, brushing a few mint green locks of hair out of her eyes. "Anyways, most of the missions I received were local, so I was always close by. Plus I know for a fact that Shibuki always sent a few shinobi to trail me, and make sure that I was alright." "Wow, seems like Shibuki really cares for you," Naruto said, earning a smile from Fu. "Yeah, I guess he really does," Fu said fondly, as she stared at her reflection in the water. "Then don't you think you should go back to the village, and show him that you're still alive? I'm sure that he'd be overjoyed to see you," Naruto suggested, causing Fu to sigh heavily. "I know that he'd be happy to see me, but since I, died." Fu trailed off at the unpleasant reminder. Noticing this, Naruto gently squeezed Fu's shoulder, reassuring that she was alive and well now. "If I returned to the village, he'd never leave me out of his sight. I'd have no freedom, and right now I have a chance to live my life the way I want to, without any restrictions. I just don't want to feel like I'm in a cage the rest of my life. I think I have a way solve your problems," Naruto said, causing Fu's head to snap towards him. "You do?" Fu exclaimed, grabbing onto Naruto's orange jacket. "Tell me. I told you that Chome wanted to be sealed back inside you," Naruto explained, causing Fu to nod as she listened intently. "Well, you if let Chome be sealed back inside you, and you show Shibuki that the both of you can work together, he might give you more freedom to leave the village." Fu bit her bottom as she mulled what Naruto had said over. It was a pretty good idea, and she did want to go back to her old village. But there was one glaring problem with Naruto's plan. The villagers would still despise her if the Biju was sealed back inside her. As if sensing her thoughts, Naruto smiled and patted Fu's shoulder. "Don't worry about the villagers," Naruto said in a calm voice, making Fu's eyes widen. "Like I said, you have to persevere through the hate, and show the villagers why they should like you. Don't succumb to the hatred and stoop to their level. Just keep working at it, and you'll eventually earn their respect and trust." People can change, Fu, and especially after this war, one think people's view on the Biju will change. You just have to stay strong. "You're right," Fu said as she looked back her reflection. She stared at her reflection for a moment before her head snapped up, a large grin on her face. "Yeah, you're right. I'm strong. I can deal with the villagers." I'll show them all that I'm a great kunoichi, and that I'm fucking awesome. Shooting to her feet, Fu grabbed Naruto's hand. With a spring in her step, the kunoichi started to drag Naruto back to the village. Time to say hi to Shibuki, Fu exclaimed, as she raced back towards the village with Naruto in tow. A pair of eyes watched Fu drag Naruto through the forest back towards Takigakure. Enko smirked as she watched Naruto stumble behind Fu, as she speeded through the woods. The snake mistress had watched most of the scene from her vantage point. She sat on a tree branch, with one leg dangling over the side, above the small pond Fu had been sitting at. Originally Enko had went to find Naruto after Sakura had found out that he had run off. The pink-haired kunoichi was furious at Naruto for leaving without telling any of them, but she was also worried sick that something might happen to him. So she sought out Enko and asked her to track down Naruto. Enko agreed and immediately started to search for the missing blonde. It didn't take Enko very long to find Naruto's trail. He wasn't exactly trying to cover his tracks. But he must have been using his sage mode, because he gotten a considerable distance from the village in a short span of time. After tracking Naruto's trail for about 25 minutes, Enko stumbled across a secluded waterfall. There she spotted the Naruto conversing with small, tanned girl. Deciding to do a little eavesdropping, Enko quietly scaled a nearby tree. Once she was in her vantage point, Enko carefully listened to what was being said. Enko choked up a little when Naruto recalled how he used to be treated by the villagers. But Enko was impressed by Naruto's linguistic skills. That Gaki is a damn silver-tongued devil, Enko said with a smirk, as she dropped back to the ground. Well, better get back, don't want to miss the show. Pinky is gonna have your ass when you get back, kid. Enko snickered as she leisurely strolled back to Takigakure. 10 minutes later. Man, I can't believe that Naruto guy is here, a gate guard said, twirling a kunai around his index finger. Yeah, he's a friggin' war hero, what's he doing here in our village? Plus he's got all those other people with him as well, another guard said, as he lazily turned the page of the book he was reading. You'd think he'd be kicking back and relaxing. I don't know why he's here, but the first guard stopped when he heard the sounds of approaching footsteps. He stopped twirling his kunai, and held it firmly in his grasp. Wait, I hear someone approaching, and fast too. Yeah, I heard it too, the second guard said, putting his book down and resting a hand on the sword strapped to his back. Both guards prepared themselves for whatever was approaching. But what burst out of the woods was not something they were expecting. The guards went wide-eyed as they watched Fu dragging an exhausted Naruto Uzumaki towards the village gates. Fu didn't slow down at all as she sped past the guards, flashing the guards a quick grin as she ran by. Both guards' jaws were slack as they watched the mint-haired girl run into the village. Was that Fu? The first guard asked in utter disbelief. And was she dragging Naruto? That can't be, Fu's been dead for almost a year now, the second guard said, rubbing his eyes. We must be seeing things. Yeah, you're probably right, the first guard said, as he scratched his head. Man, we need to get some more sleep, these late night shifts are fucking with our heads. Amen to that, the second guard said with a nod, as he opened his book back up. Fu, can you slow down? Naruto panted, as Fu barreled through the village. We've been running for over 10 minutes straight. Come on, you should have more stamina than this, Fu exclaimed with a childish grin. You're a Jinchuriki still, so you should have even more energy than me. Yeah, you'd think, Naruto said quietly, looking off to the side. You say something? Fu asked, raising an eyebrow. I'll tell you later, Naruto answered, earning a shrug from the girl who was still dragging him through Takigakure. After few more minutes, and more than a couple disbelieving looks from the villagers, Fu and Naruto had arrived at Shibuki's home. Fu waved at the shocked guards, as she casually strolled past them towards Shibuki's office. Arriving at the door to Shibuki's office, Fu reached out and knocked on the door. A grin was plastered on Fu's face as she waited for Shibuki to call them in. Come in, Shibuki's voice rang out from behind the door. Fu's grin widened as she burst into the room, Naruto following closely behind her. The sudden intrusion shocked Shibuki, and he just stared at two of them wide-eyed for a few moments. Eventually Shibuki's brain fully processed what he was seeing. He let out a sharp gasp as he stared at the mint-haired girl in front of him. Fu gave Shibuki a toothy grin, as she waved at him. Hey Shibuki. Did you miss me? Fu asked cheerfully, just as Shibuki stood up from his seat. Fu, is that really you? Shibuki asked, as he rubbed his eyes. He slowly walked up to Fu, and touched her shoulder. I'm not under some kind of genjutsu, or something. Nope, I'm really here. I'm alive and kicking, Fu replied. The kunoichi squeaked in surprise when Shibuki pulled her in for a tight hug. How is this possible? Shibuki asked, fighting off tears. He held Fu closely, still not fully convinced that she was here in front of him. You died, we found your body. The Akatsuki had captured you, and extracted the Nanabi from you. You can thank that knucklehead. Fu said, gesturing to Naruto. He brought me back to life, along with all the other dead Jinchuriki. You did this. You brought Fu back to life. Shibuki asked Naruto, earning a nod from the blonde. The Takigakure leader released Fu, and pulled Naruto into a hug instead. Thank you Naruto. You have no idea how much this means to me. It was nothing, Naruto said, patting Shibuki's back. I figured that all the Jinchuriki deserved a second chance. Again I thank you, Shibuki said, releasing Naruto from the hug. He then turned back to face Fu. I'm so glad that you're back. But after what happened with the Akatsuki, I'll have to watch you even more closely. To make sure that something like that never happens again. I was afraid that you were gonna say something like that. Fu said, earning a confused look from Shibuki. Shibuki, I seriously debated on whether or not I should come back to the village. The only reason I'm here is because Naruto convinced me to come back. Before I was captured by the Akatsuki I felt like I was living in a cage. You had men constantly watching over me, and I was never allowed to leave the village. The only time I felt truly free was when you allowed me to participate in the Chunin exams. But I was just doing that to protect you. Shibuki reasoned, walking up to Fu. And look what happened when I left you unattended. You were captured by the Akatsuki and killed. If they didn't find me after the Chunin exams, they would have just found me in the village. Fu shot back, glaring at Shibuki. You have no idea how dangerous the Akatsuki was. You know what they did to Konoha just to get to Naruto, they would have done the same here to capture me. But Fu, I just want to keep you safe. Shibuki said, placing his hand on Fu's shoulder. I care about you, and I don't want anything else to happen to you. What if I can prove to you that I can protect myself? That I'll be safe, even if you don't watch me 24/7, Fu suggested, causing Shibuki to quirk an eyebrow. Oh, and how do you plan on doing that? Shibuki asked, crossing his arms over his chest. I'm gonna have the Nanabi sealed back inside me. Fu said, causing Shibuki's eyes to widen in shock. I'll work with him, and we'll become a team. You've heard how strong Naruto has become now that he is working with the Kyuubi. Imagine how strong I can become if Chomei and I work together. With the power of a Biju on my side, I'll be fine on my own. I thought that you could already use the Nanabi's power. Shibuki asked with a confused look. That's not entirely true, Fu admitted, as she rubbed her arm. Chomei and I usually just minded our own business, and we rarely talked. He would only let me use his power when I really needed it, and even then it wasn't his full power. If I was able to use all of Chomei's power I'd be so much stronger than I used to be. You keep saying, Chomei, is that the Nanabi's actual name? Shibuki asked, earning a nod from Fu. What spurred this on? Do you really have to ask? Fu replied with a chuckle, as Naruto scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. I see, Shibuki said as he rubbed his chin. Will you be able to train Fu, Naruto? I'm sorry but I won't be able to train Fu personally, but I know someone in Kumogakure who will be able to train her. Naruto answered, causing Fu's eyes to light up. Who is it? Fu asked in an excited tone. He's the Hachibi Jinchuriki. His name is Killer B. Naruto said, as he scratched his chin. But let me warn me, B is a little weird. I think I've heard of him. Shibuki said with a nod. He's the younger of the Raikage, correct? Yes, and I can get a message to him when we leave. I'm sure he'd be happy to train a fellow Jinchuriki. Naruto explained, smiling at Fu. He trained me, and helped me unlock all of Kurama's power. I'm positive he'll be able to do the same with you. So can I do it? Fu asked, brimming with excitement. Shibuki looked at the kunoichi, and saw that she was nearly bouncing in anticipation. He truly didn't want to see Fu hurt again, but maybe it was time to start giving her more freedom. Especially if she could harness the full power of a Biju. Shibuki sighed before he smiled at Fu. I will allow it, the Nanabi will be resealed within you. Shibuki said, causing Fu to let out a happy cheer. Fu ran up to both Naruto and Shibuki, and gave them both a tight hug. The Takigakure leader waited for Fu to calm down before he continued. And if you prove to me that you can control the Nanabi's power, and the both of you can work together, I'll allow you to take missions outside of the village, and give you more freedom to do as you wish. Thank you Shibuki, Fu exclaimed, as she let out a sigh of relief. I won't let you down, I will show you that I can protect myself. I look forward to it. Shibuki said, smiling at the girl he viewed as a younger sister. Naruto, can you Kurama contact Chome, and tell him that I want him to be sealed back inside me? Fu asked, still brimming with excitement. That's the thing, I kinda can't right now. Naruto admitted, as he rubbed the back of his head. I'm having problems talking with Kurama, so I can't get him to relay info to the other Biju. What do you, Fu started, but she was cut off by Shibuki. That won't be a problem Naruto. Shibuki said, causing Fu's head to snap to face him. I've had a few of my men monitoring the Nanabi ever since the war ended. We know where it is. So we can bring you to him tomorrow, and have him sealed back inside you. That sounds great, I'm gonna get to bed right away. Is my room still the same? Fu asked, causing a sad smile to spread across Shibuki's face. I haven't touched anything in your room since you left for the Chunin exams. Shibuki said, wiping away tears that were forming in his eyes. After what happened to you, I could never force myself to go in there. Nothing like that will ever happen again, I can promise you that. Fu said softly, as she gently squeezed Shibuki's shoulder. I'm here now, and I'm to stay. Thanks Fu, now why don't you get some rest? Shibuki suggested, making Fu smile before she walked off to her room. When Fu had left the room, Shibuki turned to face Naruto. The blonde Jinchuriki was watching Fu leave with a smile on his face. Shibuki walked up Naruto, and gently grasped his shoulder. I can't thank you enough for bringing Fu back Naruto. Shibuki said sincerely, causing Naruto to chuckle. No need to thank me Shibuki, I'm always happy to help. Naruto said, waving dismissively. Well, I better get back to my team, they're all probably worried sick. One more thing before you go Naruto. Shibuki said, stopping Naruto before he left. Take good care of Fu. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, giving Shibuki a confused look. Shouldn't you be the one taking care of her? That's not what I meant. Shibuki said, as he chuckled lightly. I can tell that Fu has taken a real liking to you. So if she tries anything, take good care of her, and be gentle. Fu is not a little girl anymore. So I cannot stop her if she wants to be intimate with someone. Oh, Naruto said as his cheeks burned red. I understand, well I'm leaving now. With those last words, Naruto bolted out of the room, his whole body hot in embarrassment. Shibuki couldn't help but burst out laughing, as he watched the nervous boy sprint out of his office. After Naruto left, Shibuki decided to call it a night. He smiled as he settled into his bed. Tomorrow was going to be a very interesting day. 5 minutes later, Naruto arrived at the inn his team was staying at, slightly winded. He asked the concierge, and found out which rooms his team was using. The girls and boys had decided to split 3 rooms amongst themselves. All the boys occupied one room, while the girls were split between 2 separate rooms. Deciding to check on the guys first, Naruto made his way towards the room the boys were in. Find the right room, Naruto knocked on the door. After a few moments, a very tired-looking Sai answered the door. Oh, hello Naruto, Sai said, as he stretched his back. Naruto observed Sai with an observant eye. Sai looked exhausted, and he appeared to be slouching slightly. Naruto also noticed several bruises and small cuts scattered across Sai's body. Damn, it looks like you got your pasty ass kicked Sai. Naruto commented, as he stared at Sai wide-eyed. Training was intense earlier, Sai said, as he rubbed his sore arm. Especially since Tamari-san and Tenten-san insisted on sparring with me. They're both incredibly strong, so I had a tough time keeping up with them. Sai winced in pain after he shifted uncomfortably. Then Temari-san and Tenten-san started arguing, and things started to escalate rather quickly. They eventually started fighting, and it was getting rather dangerous. So I had to step in and try to stop them. That was easier said than done, but I eventually got them to stop. Lucky Sakura was able to heal the worst of my injuries. Sorry about that, buddy, Naruto said, patting Sai's shoulder. The pale man gasped in pain at the sudden contact. Shit, sorry about that, Sai. It's quite alright, I know it was an accident, Sai said, as he rolled his shoulder. Is there anything else you needed, Naruto? Are Choji and Shisui doing alright? Naruto asked, poking his head into the room. Yes, Shisui-san is finishing his reports for Kakashi-sama, and Choji-san was writing a letter to Karui-san. Sai answered, just as Choji and Shisui turned to wave at Naruto. Okay, I'm gonna go check on the girls now. You guys get some rest, because we'll be departing shortly after Chome is sealed back inside Fu. Naruto explained, earning a nod from everyone in the room. Naruto left the guy's room, and searched for the rooms that his girls were staying in. After searching for a few minutes, he found the rooms side by side. He knocked on the first door, and after a few moments Konan opened the door. Like Sai, Konan looked physically drained. Her eyes were tired, and her hair was a mess. Wow, Konan-chan, you look like you had a rough day, Naruto commented, giving Konan a chaste kiss. Yeah, Ryuzetsu and I had a rough day at the academy, Konan said with a smile, brushing some loose hair out of her face. The instructors were behind with a lot of their lessons. So they had Ryuzetsu and I helped them catch up. Then they had us assist in several demo stations for the students. It was a rather eventful day for the both of us. Where's Ryuzetsu-chan? Naruto asked, looking past Konan. Oh, she's already asleep, Konan answered with a chuckle. She passed out as soon as her head hit the pillow. Is that Naruto-kun? Tenten asked, poking her head into the doorway. The kunoichi had a few bandages on her face, and several bruises lined her arms. It's so good to see you. Hey Tenten-chan, Naruto said, giving Tenten a quick kiss. Sai told me that you and Temari got in a fight earlier. That bitch started it, Temari yelled from the other side of the room. Like Tenten, Temari had bandages on several spots across her face and bruises on various parts of her body. Naruto also noticed another crack in Temari's fan. She tapped Kurama's chakra again, Naruto thought, as he stared at Tenten in surprise. Her and Sakura-chan are the only girls who have been able to do that so far. No, you started it when you said my hair was stupid. Then you had the fucking gall to tears up one of my scrolls with one your stupid ninjutsus. Tenten yelled back, as she glared at Temari. Well, you put another damn crack in my fucking fan. I'm gonna have to get a new one soon, Temari yelled, shooting to her feet. It's not my fault that I'm stronger than you, Tenten said with a smug look, as she crossed her arms. You're just lucky that you can use Kurama's chakra. If I could use that, and get a fucking power boost, I would so kick your ass, Temari exclaimed, butting heads with Tenten. You want to go Sandy Crotch? Tenten yelled, reaching for one of her scrolls. Let's do this, you weapons whore, Temari exclaimed, grabbing for her fan. Shit, I better stop this before they destroy half the inn, Naruto thought, as he prepared to create a cage bunshin. Will you both shut the fuck up? Ryuzetsu screamed, shooting upright in her bed. She was panting, as she glared at Tenten and Temari with wild eyes. Some of us are trying to fucking sleep. Geez, what crawled into her panties? Tenten mumbled, as she sat down. Yeah, the fuck's her problem? Temari grumbled, sitting next to Tenten. Good, now keep quiet, Ryuzetsu exclaimed, rolling onto her side and placing her pillow on top of her head. Holy shit, I've never seen Ryuzetsu-chan so pissed, Naruto said quietly, earning a nod from Konan. Yes, that was quite surprising. Her and Hinata are usually the quiet ones, Konan agreed, turning back to Naruto. Well, I better check on the other girls. Just be ready to leave tomorrow, because we're departing shortly after Chome is resealed inside Fu, Naruto said, as he quickly walked into the room and gave Temari and Ryuzetsu a quick kiss. Good night, girls. Good night, Naruto, all the girls said in unison, even Ryuzetsu, who rolled over to give Naruto a tired smile before he left. Naruto quietly closed the door, and walked over to the adjacent room where the rest of his girls were staying. Before Naruto even knocked on the door, her could sense evil presence coming from within the room. Naruto had a good feeling he knew what was the source of the overpowering dark aura, because her had experienced it numerous times throughout his life. Reaching a shaky hand out, Naruto gently knocked on the door. He was surprised when the door slowly opened by itself. Naruto peered inside the room, and he immediately saw Sakura sitting on the end of the bed with her arms crossed over her chest. The pinkette was glaring at Naruto. The Jinchuriki quickly spotted several tics that he noticed Sakura would often display. The subtle twitch of her left eye, the clenching of her fists on her arms, the rapid tapping of her right foot, and the vein that throbbed on her forehead. All telltale signs that pointed to one conclusion. Sakura Haruno was officially pissed off. Hey Sakura-chan, Naruto said nervously as he stepped into the room. Naruto, Sakura said in a disturbingly calm voice. Take a seat. If you'll just let me explain. Naruto tried to defend himself, but a slight growl from Sakura cut him off. Take a seat, Sakura said a little more forcefully, gesturing to the chair in front of her. Deciding it was best to just accept his fate, Naruto slowly walked over to the chair Sakura was pointing to. Naruto nervously sat down in the chair, and awaited for whatever Sakura had planned. He gulped when Sakura slowly stood up from her seat on the bed, and started to walk up to him. As Sakura made her way over, Naruto noticed Enko sitting on the windowsill smirking at him. Turning his head, Naruto spotted Ino and Hinata on the other side of the room trying to act like they weren't paying attention. But he could tell that they were both secretly watching what was happening. Sakura stopped in front of Naruto and took a deep breath. Naruto, care to explain to me why you left without telling any of us? Sakura screamed, causing Naruto to flinch at her sudden exclamation. I swear to Kami, if you left to hook up with some random booty call, I will kick your ass to Konoha and back twice. Naruto said nothing, as he recovered from Sakura literally yelling his face. Well, explain yourself. Okay, Naruto said, holding up his hands defensively. I went to find Fu. Fu, so you did run off to fuck some random chick? Sakura roared, cocking her fist back. No. Naruto yelled frantically, as he waved his arms. Let me explain. You have 5 seconds, Sakura said, lowering her fist. Fu is a Jinchuriki like me. She wasn't in the village, so I went to find her and bring her back. Naruto explained, causing Sakura to calm down. I managed to convince her to come back to the village, and Chome is to be resealed inside her tomorrow. I left without telling anyone, because I had to leave quickly before she did anything stupid. Okay, Sakura said cheerfully, doing a complete 180. She leaned forward and kissed Naruto's cheek. I'm glad you're back safe and sound. Just please let one of us know before you run off next time, I was worried sick. Naruto watched Sakura walk back to the bed with look of utter disbelief. Did that really just happen? Was he really still alive, or had Sakura punched his head clean off and he was in the afterlife? There was no way that he had gotten off scot-free. What the fuck just happened? Naruto whispered to himself. He nearly jumped out of his skin when someone whispered in his ear. Looks like she's having mood swings again. Enko purred in Naruto's ear. Shame, I was really enjoying the show. You're a fucking sadist, Naruto said quietly, as Enko licked his ear. And you love that about me. Enko whispered hotly into his ear, sending a shiver down Naruto's spine. Damn it, you know me too well, Naruto said, giving Enko a kiss. I would suggest we sneak off to do some naughty things, but Miss Prissy Pants over there would throw a fit. Enko purred, nibbling on Naruto's ear. But we'll have some alone time eventually. Enko, stop dry humping Naruto's arm and get some rest. Sakura yelled, earning a smirk from Enko. Anything for you, mistress. Enko whispered the last words so that only Naruto and Sakura could hear. Don't call me that in public, Sakura hissed, as her face turned a ruddy shade of red. Now all you get to bed. That includes you, Ino and Hinata. Hi Sakura, Hinata squeaked as she jumped into bed. When did Forehead become the boss around here? Ino grumbled, as she crawled into her bed. Good night lover boy, Enko purred, giving Naruto a quick kiss before she walked over to her bed. Good night to you too mistress, Enko whispered, kissing Sakura's cheek. Enko, Sakura groaned, her face turning red again. Get to bed. Oh, So forceful, you really know what turns me on. Enko said with chuckle, as she climbed into her bed. You too Naruto, bed now. Sakura ordered, fighting off her blush. Okay, good night girls. Naruto said, walking up to Ino and Hinata and giving them a quick kiss. He then crawled into bed with Sakura. Good night Sakura-chan, Naruto said, kissing Sakura's forehead. Good night Baka, Sakura said warmly as she smiled at Naruto. Both shinobi shared one last kiss before they both closed their eyes and drifted off to sleep. The next morning 9 a.m. Naruto met Fu at the village gates early in the morning. The rest of Naruto's team stayed behind in the village and prepared to leave, while at the same time helping out wherever they could. He found her waiting for him along with Shibuki and several other shinobi, which Naruto assumed were the sealing team. Fu's eyes lit up when she saw Naruto, and she waved him over. Good morning Fu, Shibuki. Naruto said with a smile. Good morning Naruto. Fu exclaimed, pulling Naruto in for a hug. Wow, someone's excited. Naruto said with chuckle. So I guess you're ready to have Chome resealed in you. You bet your ass I am. Fu cheered with a massive grin, as she bounced in excitement. Well then I guess we should get going then. Naruto said, matching Fu's grin with one of his own. My men will lead the way. Shibuki said, walking up to Naruto and Fu. My scouts have found the Nanabi's current position. It should take us about an hour by foot, so we should leave immediately. Sounds good to me, Naruto said, turning to look at Fu. You ready to go? Hell yeah, Fu exclaimed, pumping her fist into the air. Let's get this show on the road. Shibuki and Naruto smiled as they watched Fu take off sprinting down the road in front of them. Are you going to tell her that she's going the wrong way? Naruto asked, as the group began to walk down a side path. Ah, she'll find out eventually. Shibuki said with smile, causing Naruto to chuckle. She does stuff like this all the time. She always get overexcited so easily. I was the same way growing up. Naruto said fondly, as he remembered his younger days. 10 minutes later Fu came sprinting down the path they were on. Her cheeks were pink in embarrassment, as she walked next to Naruto. The blonde Jinchuriki merely chuckled lightly and patted Fu on the back. After walking for a little over an hour the small group reached a large swamp a few miles west of Takigakure. It's not safe to wade through the water here, Shibuki said, gesturing up to the trees above them. We'll have to travel the rest of the way above the ground. Got it, Naruto and Fu said, following Shibuki and sealing team up into the trees. After traveling a short distance in the trees, the group met up with the two scouts that had been monitoring Chome. Good to see you all made it in one piece, one of the scouts said, as everyone gathered on a large tree branch. Where's Chome? Fu asked the scouts excitedly. The Nanabi is located in a massive hollowed tree about a half a click to the north. The second scout said, pointing to a spot on the map. If we travel in the trees we should be there in no time. All right, you two lead the way, Shibuki said, earning a nod from the scouts. Naruto, once we arrive you and Fu approach the Nanabi first. Then once we know it's safe signal us, and the sealing team will move in. Understood, Naruto and Fu said, as they started after Shibuki and the sealing team. Naruto and Fu traveled side by side through the trees. As they jumped from branch to branch, Naruto noticed that Fu would occasionally glance over at him. Whenever Naruto would catch her looking at him, she would quickly turn away with a faint blush on her face. Shibuki smirked as her watched Fu steal glances at the blonde Jinchuriki. It seems that you really are growing up, Shibuki thought with a smile. Naruto? Fu asked, breaking the silence that had fallen over the group. What did you mean when you said you were having problems speaking with Kurama? Yes, I was wondering the same thing, Shibuki added, looking at Naruto. I mean exactly what I said, Naruto replied, lowering his head as a sad look spread across his face. I haven't been able to talk with the furball for over 2 weeks now. Fu let out a gasp at this revelation. It started some time after my team had arrived in Kumogakure. That's very strange indeed. I've heard about something like that ever happening, Shibuki said as he rubbed his chin. Whatever is affecting Kurama and I's communication is also messing with my stamina and chakra. I'm still able to access a small amount of Kurama's chakra, but using it leaves me extremely drained, Naruto explained, causing Fu's eyes to widen. Also I use up my normal chakra a lot quicker, and it takes my chakra reserves a lot longer to refill. Plus I've been getting winded a lot easier lately. I can barely run 5 minutes before I'm almost out of breath. That's why you were out of breath last night, Fu said, causing Naruto to nod his head. Naruto, do you think you may have been poisoned? Sigh. That's the first thing Sakura-chan thought of when I explained what was happening to her. But when she scanned my body, she didn't a trace of poison in my body. Naruto answered in sad tone. She also checked for signs of illness or possible infections, but everything came back negative. Hinata-chan even checked my chakra reserves with her Byakugan, and she said they looked absolutely fine. Except for the chakra and stamina problems, I'm as healthy as can be. But whatever is wrong with me is something that we've never encountered before. That's a pretty scary thought, Fu said, as she furrowed her brow. I hope that there's nothing seriously wrong with you. I'd hate for you to get hurt. Oh, don't worry about me, I'm damn near indestructible, Naruto said with a grin, as he pounded a fist to his chest. This declaration caused Fu to smile, and seemed to alleviate some of the tension that had filled the air. Alright everyone, heads up, the first scout called out. We're approaching the target destination, so get ready, the second scout exclaimed. It's showtime, Fu cheered, as a massive tree came into view through the trees ahead. The large tree was located on a small patch of land near the center of the swamp. In the front of the tree was a large hole, that was the perfect size to hide a massive rhinoceros beetle biju. Okay, you two remember the plan. You go in first, and signal the rest of us when it's safe to approach, Shibuki said, as everyone gathered around him. Then we'll proceed with the sealing. Once the sealing team has started, they must have absolute concentration, so no one must disturb them. Everyone understand what they must do? Everyone nodded simultaneously. Good, now move out. Let's get to it, Fu, Naruto said with a grin, as he dropped to the ground below. Right behind you, Fu exclaimed, jumping after Naruto. Both shinobi landed on the ground and slowly made their way towards the massive tree in front of them. As Naruto and Fu approached the large hole in the tree, they began to hear the buzz of insect wings. Suddenly a voice rang out from within the tree. I'm surprised you didn't call ahead, Naruto, Chome said in an annoyed tone, emerging from the tree. The massive seven-tailed rhinoceros beetle towered over Naruto and Fu, as it floated in front of them. Those humans that have been tracking weren't doing a very good job masking their movements. I detected them as soon as they entered this swamp. I wanted some peace and quiet until I received word from you. But those two have been monitoring all my movements. Yes, sorry about that, Chome, Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head. I've been having some problems talking with Kurama. Oh, are you and the big furball arguing? Chome said with a chuckle. No, there's something that's been blocking our link. I haven't been able to talk to Kurama for over 2 weeks now, Naruto said, surprising the biju before him. Well then, I hope you find out what's wrong and start talking with Kurama again. It's a shame since you worked so hard to earn Kurama's trust, Chome said with a sympathetic tone. Hey Chome, Fu said, finally making her presence known to the Nanabi. Oh Fu, it's so good to see you again, Chome exclaimed, happiness evident in his voice. You're happy to see me? Fu asked in a surprised tone. I know we usually stayed out of each other's hair before, but Naruto has opened my eyes. He's shown me that biju and humans can work together in harmony, and that they can even be friends, Chome said, earning a smile from Naruto. I take it that since you're here, that you want to be my Jinchuriki again. I wasn't going to at first, Fu admitted, a small smile spreading across her face as she turned to look at Naruto. But Naruto convinced me to give you another chance. I want to become stronger, and with your help I can grow stronger. Plus I want to prove to the villagers that I'm a nice person even if I have a biju sealed inside me. I want to show them that I can persevere through their hate, and gain their respect and admiration. Naruto said that he'd contact the man that helped him gain full access to Kurama's chakra. With his help we should have no problem making me stronger than ever. Well, I'd love to help you become stronger, Fu, and it would be great to see you finally earn the respect of the villagers, Chome said, looking down at Naruto. Thanks to Naruto here, I've seen that biju and humans can work together in harmony. All it takes is mutual trust and respect. Well, I'm ready to begin whenever you are, Fu said, causing Chome to grunt. Then signal those humans hiding in the trees to get down here already. Chome said as he turned around and started back towards his tree. Fu followed closely behind Chome into the massive tree. Seriously, are they even trying to be stealthy? You guys could have all came at once, I wasn't planning on harming any of you. Flashing through a few hand signals, Naruto gave the all-clear to the rest of the group. Immediately the sealing team landed in front of Naruto, and made their way towards the tree behind him. Next Shibuki and the two scouts descended towards the ground. Well, the sealing team is getting started, so you better sit tight. Shibuki said, taking seat on the ground. It will take them a few hours to complete the sealing process. Naruto groaned as he leaned against a tree, and slumped to the ground. It was going to be a long few hours. 3 hours later. After an excruciating 3 hours, the sealing team finally emerged from the tree. One of the members was helping Fu walk, as they slowly made their way over. Fu's eyes were tired, and she looked physically exhausted. Naruto made his way over, and took over supporting Fu. So did it work? Naruto asked with a hopeful look. It sure did, Fu said weakly. She managed to lift her head slightly and give Naruto a toothy grin. I can feel the big guy working his butt off, trying to get me back to full health. Okay, that's all I needed to know, Naruto said, as he got down on one knee. Hop onto my back, I'll carry you back to Taki. Naruto, you really shouldn't with your condition, Shibuki said with a concerned look. I'll carry Fu, you just take it easy. No, Fu needs to rest and I need to work on getting my stamina back up, Naruto said, smiling at Shibuki. If I start having problems, I'll let you take over. Alright, but you let me know as soon as you start getting tired, Shibuki said, earning a nod from Naruto. Okay Fu, hop on, Naruto said, as Fu wrapped her arms and legs around Naruto's neck and waist. The blonde Jinchuriki was surprised when he noticed how light Fu was. He stood up and began carrying Fu piggyback. Wow, you're pretty light Fu. Naruto waited for a response, but he received none. He looked over his shoulder to see that Fu was fast asleep, her head resting on top of his shoulder. Naruto smiled as he watched Fu sleep peacefully. Huh, she's pretty cute when she's asleep, Naruto thought, as Fu began to lightly snore. Well everyone, let's head back, Shibuki called out, before he jumped back into the trees above. Naruto pumped a small amount of chakra into his legs, and leapt after Shibuki and the other Taki shinobi. A few moments later the small team was making their way back to Takigakure at a steady pace. As they traveled, Naruto couldn't help but notice Fu bury her head into the crook of his neck. She inhaled deeply, and a content smile spread across her face. After traveling a little over an hour the group finally arrived back in Takigakure. Naruto wasn't surprised to see that his team was eagerly awaiting his return. Each of the girls gave Naruto a quick kiss, and welcomed him back. After the group was welcomed back to the village, the sealing team and scouts left to take care of other matters. Well Naruto, we should probably get Fu into bed, Shibuki said, gesturing towards his home. Naruto nodded, so Shibuki turned and started making his way back towards his office. Fu mumbled incoherently and squirmed on Naruto's back. Yeah, you're right, Naruto said, as he adjusted Fu on his back. He then turned to his team, who were all awaiting for their orders. Okay everyone, make preparations to leave. As soon as Fu is awake we're heading out. Where will you be while we get ready to leave? Choji asked, raising an eyebrow. I'll be watching over Fu to make sure that nothing happens to her, Naruto said, turning around to follow after Shibuki. I'll come get you all when Fu is awake. Naruto's team watched him walk off towards Shibuki's home. As soon as the blonde Jinchuriki was out of earshot, Sakura sighed and pinched the bridge of her nose. He's going to sleep with that girl, isn't he? Sakura asked in an exasperated tone. Almost defiantly, Enko said, licking her lips. I could sexual tension between them last night when I was spying on them. Grown, let's just hope he makes it quick, Sakura said, as she turned to head back to the inn. With the gaki the type of stuff is never quick, Enko said with a perverted smile. 2 hours later, Fu groaned as she groggily opened her eyes. Her head was throbbing slightly, but except for that she felt great. She could feel Chome's power coursing through her body. Fu pumped a little chakra into her stomach, and she smiled when saw a seal appear. You're really back in there, Fu thought, as she lazily traced the seal on her stomach. It's good to be back Fu, Chome said, startling his Jinchuriki. Don't scare me like that. Fu chastised the Biju, as she clutched a hand over her racing heart. A sudden snore alerted Fu to another presence in the room. She turned her head to see Naruto asleep in a chair next to her bed. How long has he been here? He's been here the entire time. That boy never left your side. Chome answered, causing Fu's cheeks to turn a shade of pink. He wanted to make sure nothing happened to you while you were asleep. He's so sweet, Fu thought, as she reached out and stroked Naruto's cheek. I don't know why, but I get all tingly inside when I'm around him. Does my little Fu have a crush? Chome said with a deep chuckle. Shut up, Fu screamed in her head, as her entire body grew hot. I don't what I, feeling for Naruto. I haven't known him for very long, but I feel like we have a connection or something. We both have similar pasts, and we have so many other similarities. Not to mention he's so hot, no wonder all those other girls are with him. How do you know those girls are with him? Chome asked in a confused tone. I saw the marks on their arms when we got back to the village. I wasn't totally asleep. Plus I can sense some of Kurama's chakra in their bodies. Fu explained, causing Chome to chuckle again. What's so funny? You want to be one of his mates as well. Chome stated, making Fu squeak in embarrassment. Don't try to deny it, remember I was sealed in you for years. I know you better than anyone else. Well, it would be kinda nice. Fu thought, as her heart thudded in her chest. Just then Naruto began to stir. He rubbed the sleep out of his eyes, and the first thing he saw was Fu staring right at him. He smiled warmly at the Nanabi Jinchuriki, as he leaned forward in his seat. It's great to see that you're awake, Fu. Naruto said, causing a smile to spread across Fu's face. Well, it's good to have Chome sealed back inside me. Fu said, placing a hand over where her seal should be. Listen Naruto, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. Oh, it was no problem, Fu. I'm always happy to help me friends out. Naruto said with his signature grin. No Naruto, you don't understand. You stopped me from possibly making a horrible mistake. You given the opportunity to become stronger, and to finally earn the respect and acknowledgement of my village. Fu said, as she leaned closer to Naruto. Her face only inches away from his. And I want to show you how thankful I am. What Fu you don? Naruto was cut off when Fu pressed her lips to his. The mint-haired girl moaned at the feeling of his lips against her own. Fu quickly wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck to deepen the kiss. Naruto parted his lips slightly, and allowed Fu's tongue to explore his mouth. Both Jinchuriki's tongues met and began to fight for dominance. Naruto's experienced tongue eventually won. He greedily plunged his tongue into Fu's mouth, causing both of them to moan into the kiss. A few moments later they both parted for air. They both were panting heavily, as their faces burned red. Wow, that was amazing. Fu said, pressing a hand against her burning cheek. Fu, we don't have to go any farther if you don't want to. Naruto said, causing Fu to smile at him. It's alright Naruto, I want this, I want to be marked by you. Fu said, as she caressed Naruto's cheek. So you know about mate marks? Naruto asked, and Fu nodded in response. And you're absolutely sure that you want to do this? Yes, I want to do this with you. I want you to claim me. Fu said with determination in her voice. Fu Lemon's scene. 1 hour later. Alright, are you guys ready to go? Naruto said, walking up to his team with Fu following closely behind him. Oh, it looks like you two had some fun. Enko said, looking up from the bag she was packing. She wriggled her eyebrows suggestively at the female Jinchuriki. Fu's face burned bright red in embarrassment, and she rubbed the mate mark on his arm. Enko, that's enough teasing. Fu is a part of our family now. Naruto said, causing a smile to spread across Fu's face. Enko grumbled something to herself, before she returned to packing her bag. Will you be coming with us, Fu? Sakura asked, causing Naruto to look at her in confusion. Wait, you're not mad at me, Sakura-chan? Naruto asked, raising a blonde eyebrow. No, I was expecting something like this to happen. Sakura said with a shrug. So is she coming with us, or not? No, I'll actually be heading to Kumogakure soon. I'll be heading there to train with Killer Bee. Fu said, as she squeezed Naruto's arm. Naruto already sent a messenger hawk to Kumo, informing them that I will be training with Killer Bee. Well, I hope that your training proves fruitful. Sakura said, as she walked up to Fu. The pinkett then pulled Fu in for a hug, surprising the mint-haired girl. What Naruto said is true. You're a part of our family now. Sakura then tapped the mate mark on Fu's arm. This mark binds us all to Naruto. So if you ever want to stay with us, just feel free to stop on by. I might just take you up on that. Fu said with a wide smile. But I have to finish my training first. Maybe when I'm finished, you'll always be welcome to stay with us, Fu-chan. Naruto said with a fox-like grin, as he wrapped his arms around Sakura and Fu's shoulders. Fu's cheeks darkened at the honorific added to her name. Well, you guys best be going. It will nightfall soon. Shibuki said, walking up to the group. He's right, everyone. Naruto said, as he released Fu and Sakura. Pack it up, and we'll move out. Everyone nodded and gathered up their belongings. Once everyone packed up, Naruto said the last of his goodbyes. He walked up to Shibuki and gave the Takigakure leader a hug. It was great to see you again, Shibuki. Naruto said, patting the man's back. Thank you once again for everything you've done for us, Naruto. Shibuki said, as Naruto released him from the hug. Make sure to stop by every now and then. Naruto then made his way over to Fu. Instead of saying anything, Naruto leaned down and gave Fu a passionate kiss. They broke apart, and smiled at each other. Fu was surprised when Naruto suddenly pulled out a three-pronged kunai. He spun the blade around in his hand and handed to her. This kunai has a special seal in it. If you need any help with your training, or if you ever just want to see me, push a little chakra into the seal. I'll be by your side in a moment's notice. Naruto said, as Fu held the kunai over her heart. Thank you, Naruto, I'll miss you. Fu said, as she gave Naruto one last kiss. I'll miss you too, Naruto said, as his group began to make their way out of Takigakure. With one last wave, Naruto's team exited the village towards their next destination. 20 minutes later. Hey Naruto, I was wondering how many of those special kunai you had left. Shisui asked, as he walked next to Naruto. I've got 3 left. Naruto answered, pulling the kunai out of his pack. Are those actually your father's kunai? Shisui asked, holding one of the 3-pronged kunai in his hands. No, only this one is. Naruto said, holding up a specific kunai. The rest are replicas that Tenten-chan made for me. All I did was place the Hiraishin seal on them. Ah, that's pretty cool. Shisui said, as Naruto put the kunai back into his pack. So where are we off to next, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, as she turned to look at the blonde. Our next stop is Kirigakure. Naruto said, pulling out a map. It should take us a little less than a week to get there if we keep up this pace. I wonder who the Gaki is gonna bone there. Enko commented, as she played with a kunai. Oh Kami. Sakura groaned, as an image of Mei Terumi popped into her head. 6 days later, 3 p.m. Forest near Kirigakure. Damn it. Sakura breathed out, green healing chakra dissipating from her hands. I still can't find what's wrong with you, Naruto. But I think I've narrowed down what this thing could be. What do you think it is, Sakura-chan? Naruto asked, causing Sakura to release a sigh. It's either a type of infection, or some new type of poison I've never seen before. Sakura answered, as she furrowed her brow. Hopefully Tsunade Shisho can help us when we get back home, but until then you'll just have to take it easy. This fucking sucks. Naruto whined, earning him a slap upside the head from Ino. Stop whining like a little baby. Ino chastised, a tick mark on her forehead. Sorry Ino-chan. Naruto apologized, rubbing the back of his head. It's just annoying that I can't train, or do anything too strenuous. Looks like she's getting mood swings now too. Naruto said the last part under his breath. What was that? Ino yelled, her blue eyes full of anger. No, nothing dear, Naruto exclaimed, flinching away from the angry blonde. Just be patient, Naruto. We'll figure something out once we get back to Konoha. Konan said with a small smile. Thanks Konan-chan, Naruto said, placing a kiss on Konan's cheek. Well everyone, we better get going. Finally, Enko exclaimed, throwing her hands into the air. It was boring as hell sitting around, and waiting for Pinky to finish examining the Gaki. Enko, Sakura hissed, as she grabbed the purple-haired woman's shoulder. Do I need to punish you? Maybe you do, mistress. Enko cooed, leaning closer to Sakura. I've been such a naughty girl lately. Just keep quiet, Sakura said, as her entire face burned red. Hi mistress. Enko said, winking at Sakura. What the hell is going on between them? Tenten whispered to Temari. I can take a pretty good guess. Temari answered, slinging her bag over her shoulder. Behind them Ryuzetsu chuckled in amusement, while Hinata's face was stained pink. After everyone was packed, the group continued their journey to Kirigakure. Naruto's team was fairly close to Kiri, so after about 2 hours the village came into view. As the group neared, the village's name rang true. A thin mist had filled the area, and it seemed to thicken as the team neared the gates. However, several buildings could be seen towering over the mist. Have any of you actually been to Kiri before? Sai asked the rest of the group. Nope, this is my first time here. Naruto answered, placing his hands behind his head. I do know a couple of shinobi from this village though. An image of Zabuza, Haku, and Suigetsu popped into Naruto's head. I've been to this village a few times on diplomatic missions for Suna. Temari said, as she stared at the village before here. This place is still as depressing as ever. I was here once, scouting for the Akatsuki. Konan said, as she got a sad look in her eyes. But Konan looked up when she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned her head to see Naruto smiling at her. That part of your life is behind you, Konan-chan. I know you didn't really want to do the things you did, so try to forget the past and look towards the future. Naruto said, pulling Konan closer. You're a kind and caring woman, Konan-chan, don't you ever forget that. Thanks, Naruto. Konan said, resting her head against Naruto's shoulder. The group walked in relative silence the rest of the way. As Naruto's team neared the gates, the mist thickened considerably. Most of the group could barely see a few feet in front of them. However, Shisui and Hinata activated their respective dojutsus, which allowed their sight to pierce through the mist. Suddenly the sound of several people landing on the ground in front of them caused the group to stop in its tracks. The mist began to dissipate, revealing several figures standing in front of Naruto's team. Well, what do we have here? A voice said from within the mist. Who's there? Naruto said, as the figure approached the team. When the figure finally came into view, Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Suigetsu. Naruto was shocked to see Suigetsu wearing a Kiri shinobi uniform. The blonde also took note of the Kiri headband tied around Suigetsu's left arm. Long time no see, Naruto. How have you been? 3 months earlier. I can't believe I'm actually doing this. Suigetsu groaned, as he trudged towards the gates of Kirigakure. I don't think they're gonna roll out the red carpet for me. As soon as Suigetsu neared the gates, the mist began to thicken around him. Ah, they're still doing this shit. You might as well just come out now, I know you guys are out there. Suigetsu flinched when he felt a kunai pressed against his neck. Look who we have here, boys. A Kiri shinobi said with a smirk. Looks like Suigetsu has finally returned home. How is it working with that traitorous Uchiha and the Akatsuki? It was just dandy. Suigetsu said with a mischievous smirk. They gave me great health care, dental, and I even got a free t-shirt. Ha ha, you're so fucking funny. The shinobi said, as he suddenly punched Suigetsu in the stomach. Take this guy to Mizukage-sama, she'll want to speak with him. Oh, I get to meet Mizukage-sama. What an honor. Suigetsu mocked, earning him another punch to the stomach. The white-haired shinobi wheezed, as he hunched over in pain. Damn, you guys really can't take a fucking joke. Just shut your mouth and walk. A blonde-haired Kiri Kunoichi said, as she shoved Suigetsu. Fine, I'm walking. Suigetsu grumbled, allowing the two shinobi to lead him through the village. His head swiveled, taking in the scenery around him. TCH, this place hasn't changed much. This village has thrived under Mizukage-sama's leadership. The Kunoichi argued, shoving Suigetsu again. So I advise you watch your tongue. Oh, I like you. Suigetsu said, wriggling his eyebrows at the girl. You got spunk, and I like that in a girl. One more word, and I'll slit your throat. The girl growled, as she glared at Suigetsu. Good luck with that one. Suigetsu said, as his entire body turned into water. After a few moments he reformed his body, and smirked at the girl. It's kinda hard to kill water. Just move your ass. The Kunoichi snarled, pushing Suigetsu along. Anything for you, sugar. Suigetsu said with a laugh, causing another growl to escape the Kunoichi's throat. After infuriating the two shinobi who were escorting for 10 more minutes, Suigetsu finally found himself outside the Mizukage's office. He had been cocky and arrogant before, but now that he stood before the double doors leading into the office, he suddenly felt a nervous chill run down his spine. Here we are. Oh, you're scared now, aren't you? Well, you better be, because Mizukage-sama is not to be trifled with. The Kiri shinobi said, as he reached for the doorknob. Remember, one wrong move and Mizukage-sama will melt you where you stand. Suigetsu gulped as the doors to the office slowly opened. He instantly spotted the Mizukage sitting at her desk. She appeared to be reading a letter of some kind. Suddenly she slammed the note onto the desk, a large hole melting into the desk. Mei-sama, maybe you should calm down. Ao said, trying to calm the angry Kage. You've gone through several desks this month already. But that bastard shot me down. Mei growled, as her left eye twitched. Her auburn hair framed her face, as she glared at the hole in her desk. I asked him out to dinner, and he has the nerve to decline using a fucking letter. The dick couldn't even do it in person. I'm never gonna find that special someone at this rate. Maybe that's for that best. Ao said under his breath. A chill suddenly ran down Ao's spine when he felt a presence behind him. One more word, and I'll kill you. Mei whispered in a low tone, causing Ao to jump in fear. When will he learn? Chojuro said with a sigh, as he pinched the bridge of his nose. It was then that Chojuro noticed the new guests in the room. Ah, Mei-sama, it appears we have some visitors. Yes, it looks like we do. Mei said, sitting back behind her desk. You two are dismissed. The two Kiri shinobi bowed before they disappeared in clouds of mist. I remember you from the 5-Cage Summit, Suigetsu Hazuka. Mei reached into her desk and pulled out a manila envelope. She pulled out a pile of papers, and began to inspect them. It says here you and your brother were heralded as the second coming of the demon. You two were supposed to be incarnations of Zabuza Momochi. You both aimed to become a part of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Your brother, Mangetsu, managed to achieve this feat. Then your brother was killed, and you gave up on joining the swordsmen. Mei took note of the sad look that flashed through Suigetsu's eyes at the mention of his deceased brother. Then it became your ambition to collect the 7 swords, and lead the 7 swordsmen. That was until you were captured by Orochimaru. Not one of my greatest moments. Suigetsu joked nervously, as he rubbed the back of his head. But at the sight of Mei's unamused look, Suigetsu chuckled and started to rub his arm. Sorry, please continue. After being experimented on by Orochimaru and his assistant Kabuto, you escaped and joined forces with Sasuke Uchiha. Mei shuffled through the papers, before she set them onto the desk. I don't need the files for the rest of this. You followed Sasuke and his team, while he attempted to kill his brother Itachi. After successfully killing Itachi, you and the rest of Sasuke's team then joined the Akatsuki. Mei's visible green eye looked irritated at the mention of the criminal organization's name. And aided in the attack on the Raikage's brother, who was the Hachibi Jinchuriki. Then you joined Sasuke when he attacked the 5-Cage Summit. After that I really don't know what you did, but I do know that you assisted in some of the fighting during the war. Mei clasped her hands, and glared at Suigetsu. I didn't take too kindly to you and Sasuke's team attacking the Cage Summit, and I have half a mind to kill you where you stand. You're considered a rogue shinobi, and a criminal. So I must ask, what are you doing here, Suigetsu? I don't really know. Suigetsu replied, shrugging his shoulders. That's not the answer I was looking for. Mei said, leaning forward in her chair. Now you either answer truthfully, or I'll have you thrown out of this village and used for sport by our hunter Nin. Kami, you're sadistic. Suigetsu said, causing Mei's glare to harden. Okay geez. Sigh, I have nowhere else to go. Suigetsu put his hands in his pockets, as he stared at the floor. Karen stayed in Konoha, and joined their shinobi ranks. I would have stayed too, but that place didn't really suit my style. Jugo went back to Oto to get help from Orochimaru, and there was no way in hell I was gonna go crawling back to that snake. So I really only had 2 options. Travel around the world and try to find a place of my own to settle down in, or come back here and try to pick my life back up where I left off. And what makes you think I'll just let you back into the village? Mei asked, as she quirked an auburn eyebrow. Well, you haven't killed me yet, so that's a start. Suigetsu said with a toothy smile. I don't know you personally, Mei, but you will address the Mizukage with some respect, you welch. Ao yelled, but Mei stopped him before he could continue. I'll allow it, I'm not one for formalities anyway. Mei said, as she waved Ao off. Please continue, Suigetsu. Well, like I said, I don't know you personally, but I've heard things about you here and there. Suigetsu explained, causing Mei to raise an eyebrow. Oh, and what things have you heard? Mei asked, her visible eye full of curiosity. People say how kind and peaceful you are, and that you're much more understanding than some of the other Kage. Suigetsu answered, as he walked up Mei's desk. All I'm asking for is a second chance. I want to make my brother proud, and become a member of the Seven Swordsmen. It was always my dream to join the swordsmen, and I want to fulfill that dream. Mei hummed, as she looked Suigetsu up and down. She noticed the pleading look in his purple eyes, and the sincere tone of his voice surprised her. What Suigetsu had said was true. Mei was far more kind and understanding than the other Kage, and as far as she could tell, Suigetsu was telling the truth. Alright, I'll allow you back into our ranks. I'll pull some strings, and get you in as a chunin. It's the best I can do. You're serious? Suigetsu asked with wide eyes. Yes, I can tell that you truly want to just pick your life back up. Mei said with a smile, as she stood up from her seat. She slowly walked around the desk, and started to lead Suigetsu towards the door. But as payback attacking the Kage Summit, you're gonna have to do gate guard duty for a few months. Suigetsu was about to protest, but Mei tightened the grip on his shoulder and stopped him. In the meantime, I'll give you and Chojuro the task of collecting the 7 swords. Mei opened the door and gently pushed Suigetsu into the hallway. I'll have a couple shinobi show you to where you'll be staying, until you can find a place of your own. You'll receive your headband and uniform in a day or two. So until then just kick back and relax. Mei smiled, as she began to close the door to the office. Oh, one last thing, Suigetsu. If I catch wind that you're thinking about betraying us, I will hunt you down and kill you personally. The door to the office closed, leaving Suigetsu standing in the hallway. What the fuck just happened? Suigetsu asked himself, as he rubbed his. Whatever, at least I have a chance to start over now. The white-haired shinobi walked over to a window, and looked over the village. He sighed, as he looked out at the horizon. Karen, Jugo, I wonder how you two are doing right now. Back in the present. So that's what happened, Suigetsu said with a chuckle, as he led Naruto's group through the village. I've been stuck on guard duty for the past few months, and it's been boring as hell. But occasionally Chojuro and I get some intel, and we go on a mission to track down one of the swords. We've been lucky, and have managed to recover 3 of the 7 swords. We have 4 in total now, but we're having trouble finding the last 3. Suigetsu sighed, placing his hands behind his head. I'm upset we haven't been able to find Zabuza's sword yet. Actually, Kakashi-sensei was using Zabuza's sword during the war. Sakura said, causing Suigetsu to stop in his tracks. Wait, your Hokage might know where Kubikiribocho is. Suigetsu yelled, as he spun around and grabbed Sakura's shoulders. Yeah, he might know where it is. Sakura answered, as she brushed Suigetsu's hands off her shoulders. I can send him a message, and have him contact with you any info he has. That'd be amazing. Suigetsu cheered with a toothy grin. I have to let Chojuro know later, that 4-eyed wimp will be so excited. So apart from guard duty, how have things been, Suigetsu? Naruto asked, as Suigetsu started leading them through the village again. Things have been pretty good so far. I've been working with Chojuro, and once I get the Kubikiribocho back I can join the 7 swordsmen. Suigetsu explained, as he turned to face the group. I've been meaning to ask. How are Karen and Jugo doing? Karen is doing great. Sakura answered with a smile. I've been training her in medical ninjutsu, and while we're on this mission she's being trained by Tsunade Shisho and Shizune. She's adjusting great and she's fitting in great. Her and Naruto are also very close as well. She's also dating someone, Naruto added with a fox-like grin. Oh, and who would that be? Suigetsu asked with a smirk. Probably some weirdo. Actually it's Itachi Uchiha, Naruto said, causing Suigetsu to nearly choke on his own breath. I thought Sasuke killed him. Suigetsu exclaimed, as he quickly spun around. He did, but I brought him back to life. Naruto said, as he activated his Rinnegan. I felt like he deserved another shot at life. Geez, why does Karen always have to go after Uchihas? Suigetsu asked himself with a sigh. So you hear anything from Jugo? Actually, Jugo is Konoha right now. Naruto replied, causing Suigetsu to raise an eyebrow. Why the hell would he be there? I thought he was with Orochimaru, trying to control his murderous urges. Suigetsu said, placing his hands on his hips. You haven't had? Naruto asked with a shocked look. No, what's going on? Suigetsu answered with a confused look. Otogakure was completely destroyed about 2 weeks ago, along with everyone in the village. Ryuzetsu answered, causing Suigetsu's eyes to widen. Does that mean Orochimaru and Kabuto are dead as well? Suigetsu asked, earning a nod from Naruto. Huh, can't say I'm too sad to hear that those bastards died. But I know that were some good people in Oto. A sad look flashed in Suigetsu's eyes, as he turned around. Such a waste of life. So Jugo made it out fine. He was out on a mission when Oto was attacked. Tenten answered. Actually, he was the one to notify Konoha of the attack. He ran all the way to Konoha to deliver the message. Shit. Suigetsu breathed out, as he looked at the ground. Is there leads on who did it? Not a single one, but Konoha did send a team to investigate. Tamari explained, placing her hands on her hips. Well, I'll inform Mizukage-sama about this. Suigetsu said, but he was stopped when Naruto grabbed his shoulder. I'll tell her, Suigetsu. I'm here to meet with her actually, so I'll let her know then. Naruto said, causing Suigetsu to shrug his shoulders. Whatever you say, we'll be there in a minute anyway. Suigetsu said, as he gestured to a tower in front of them. Naruto, can I talk to you for a minute? Sakura whispered, as she pulled Naruto towards the back of the group. Sure, what do you want to talk about, Sakura-chan? Naruto asked, as he gave Sakura a smile. It's about the Mizukage. Sakura whispered, as her face started to turn red. What about her? Naruto asked with a confused look on his face. You know how you've been, sleeping with girls in all the villages we've been to. Sakura said, her face bright red in embarrassment. Oh, don't worry about it, Sakura-chan. Naruto said, catching onto what she was trying to say. I won't try anything with Mei. No, that's not what I was getting at. Sakura said, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow. If she tries anything, I do want you to sleep with her. What? Naruto yelled, causing everyone to turn and look at him. It's nothing, you guys. Naruto said nervously, as he rubbed his arm. Everyone shrugged and turned back around. Sakura-chan, you're never alright with me doing things like that. Well, you're on a diplomatic mission, right? So it would be rude of you to turn down the Mizukage's advances. Sakura reasoned, causing Naruto's face to flame up. Also, I've heard stories about how mad she gets when she's turned down. It might be in your best interest to just give in if she tries anything. Plus, have you seen the Mizukage, Naruto? She's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. You'd be stupid to miss a chance with her. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you're right. Naruto said, as he ran his hands through his blonde hair. Alright, if Mei tries anything, I'll go along with it. Good boy. Sakura said, kissing Naruto's cheek. Now let's get this over with. 5 minutes later, Mizukage's office. Here we are. Suigetsu said, knocking on the doors to Mei's office. Come in. Mei's silky voice said from inside the room. Suigetsu opened the doors, and gestured for Naruto's team to enter. Oh Suigetsu, it seems that you've brought me the Konoha team that Kakashi mentioned. Hello Mizukage-sama, we're here. Naruto started, but he was cut off by Mei. There's no need to be so formal, handsome. Mei said with a flirtatious smile. Mei-chan is just fine with me. Alright. Mei-chan, we're here on a diplomatic mission. Naruto stuttered out, his face stained pink. I'm to make a full report on the status of your village. That sounds like a lovely idea. Mei said, as she gestured towards the doors. Everyone but Naruto out now. But Mei-sama. Out tried to argue, but a glare from the Mizukage stopped him in his tracks. Ow. Out now. Mei hissed, causing Out to sprint out of the room. Come on everyone. Suigetsu said, leading the rest of the team out of the room. Let me know your specialties, and I can probably find you all something to do while you're here. Soon the room was completely empty, except for Mei and Naruto. The blonde Jinchuriki stood in the middle of the office, awkwardly shuffling from foot to foot. Mei smiled at the young man's nervous. She looked Naruto up and down, as he stood in front of her. Mei licked her lips, thinking of all the naughty things she could do with him. Yes, he'll do nicely. Take a seat, Naruto. Mei said in sweet tone, as she gestured to a chair in front of her desk. Naruto nodded, and nervously sat in front of the Mizukage. Mei smirked and stood from her seat. She quietly made her way to the front of the desk. Naruto was surprised when Mei suddenly sat on the front of the desk. The auburn-haired Mizukage smiled, as she crossed her legs and leaned forward, giving Naruto a very generous view of her cleavage. Well, let's get down to business. Naruto gulped as he heard Mei's lust-filled tone. After a few hours, Mei had managed to tell Naruto everything he needed to know to finish his report. Naruto had even managed to inform Mei of Obito's revival, and the destruction of Oto. Mei was rather surprised to hear about Obito being revived, but she let Naruto know that she trusted him. She knew Naruto hadn't made decision lightly, so she wouldn't make a fuss about it. As long as Naruto and Konoha kept an eye on Obito, she wouldn't take any action against him. However, Mei already knew about Oto's destruction, and she promised Naruto that she'd send a team of shinobi to investigate and assist Konoha. Naruto noted how Mei never took her lust-filled eyes off him the entire time. He also noticed how she'd frequently place a hand on his knee or thigh. Her touch sent electricity shooting through his body, and he couldn't help the erotic thoughts that filled his mind. Okay, that's everything I need for now, Mei-chan, Naruto said, as he stood from his seat. I have something else to discuss with you, but that can wait until tomorrow. Naruto turned to exit the room, but he was stopped when Mei grabbed his hand. Mei-chan, you aren't going anywhere, Mei breathed out in a husky voice, as she yanked Naruto towards her. Naruto's eyes widened when he felt Mei's lips crash into his. Remembering what Sakura had said, Naruto immediately began to kiss Mei back. Naruto wasted no time, and quickly forced his tongue into Mei's mouth. The Mizukage let out a throaty moan, as Naruto's tongue explored her mouth. Not to outdone, Mei shoved Naruto back and unzipped her blue dress. The dress fell to the floor, leaving Mei in only a lacy blue, short skirt with fishnet stocking, and light purple boots. Naruto stood still, mesmerized by Mei's large bra-covered breasts. You're beautiful, Mei-chan, Naruto breathed out, as Mei began to unzip his orange jacket. You ain't bad on the eyes either, Naruto, Mei said in a husky tone, tossing Naruto's jacket off to the side. The Mizukage leaned forward and kissed Naruto again, her hands tangling in his blonde locks. Mei let out a loud moan when she felt Naruto cup her ass. You're a naughty boy, Naruto, Mei lemon scene. Same time, across the village. What do you think they're still doing in there? Suigetsu asked Sakura, as he escorted her back to the inn the team was staying at. He's probably balls deep in the Mizukage as we speak, Sakura said without missing a beat. Wait, what? Suigetsu exclaimed with wide eyes. Are you deaf or something? I said Naruto's probably fucking the Mizukage right now, Sakura replied, as she casually brushed some hair out of her eyes. Suigetsu stood dead still in the street, as Sakura continued to walk in front of him. What the fuck is going on? Suigetsu yelled, running after Sakura to get some answers. The next morning, 9 a.m. You have some explaining to do, Naruto, Mei said, wrapping her nude form in a dark blue robe. After their initial romp in her office, Mei quickly and covertly escorted Naruto back to her home so that they could continue in private. The Mizukage's hair was wild and disheveled from her previous lovemaking with the blonde Jinchuriki. Mei set 2 cups of tea down, as she took a seat across from Naruto. The blonde was dressed in his boxers, and a plain white t-shirt. Thanks, Mei-chan, Naruto said, as he took a sip of his tea. Letting out a content sigh, Naruto set the cup of tea back down. Where should I start? Why don't you start by telling me about this? Mei asked, as she revealed the mate mark on her right arm. I've always wanted a tattoo, but this is a little unusual. I can feel power coursing through this mark. Mei ran her fingers along her mark, and it began to glow dimly. It's a very strange sensation, but not in a bad way. That's a mate mark, Naruto explained, causing Mei to quirk an eyebrow. It links us together. I gave it to you by pumping some of Kurama's chakra into your body through the bite I gave you. So the power I feel is the Kyuubi's? Mei asked, earning a nod from Naruto. Will I be able to use the Kyuubi's chakra? I don't know, to be honest, Naruto replied, as he rubbed the back of his head. Sakura-chan and Tenten-chan were able to tap into Kurama's chakra, but I think it only worked because they were overtaken by their emotions. The blonde Jinchuriki sighed and leaned forward in his seat. I guess if your emotions ever get out of control you might be able to access some of Kurama's chakra. But since you only have one band I'm not really sure. One band? You can have more than one. Mei questioned, as she glanced at the orange band on her arm again. Yeah, Sakura-chan actually has 3 bands. Naruto answered, holding up 3 fingers. The rest of my girls have 2 bands. Why did they have more than me? Mei asked, her voice laced with barely hidden annoyance. It's nothing against you, Mei-chan. Naruto quickly exclaimed, as he waved his arms defensively. It's just that I've known the other girls longer than I've known you, so I have a stronger bond with them. I see, Mei said, rubbing her chin. The Mizukage's one visible eye was closed, as she pondered what Naruto had told her. After a few moments Mei's eye opened, and she let out a light sigh. Listen Naruto, I'm the Mizukage, so I can't go with you and your group. I have a duty to stay here, and lead this village and its people. Mei suddenly chuckled and leaned forward, giving Naruto a generous view of her cleavage. However, I will definitely be planning more, diplomatic, trips to Konoha. I understand Mei-chan, I wouldn't ask you to leave the village anyways. Naruto said, as a toothy grin spread across his face. And when you're on those diplomatic trips I'll be happy to be your escort. I was hoping you'd say that. Mei purred out, leaning back in her seat. So was there anything else you wanted to discuss? You mentioned that you had to tell me something in my office last night. That's right, I did have a couple things to tell you. Naruto said, as he scratched his cheek. Well, I guess I'll start by telling you that Yura and Utakata are both alive. Mei's visible green eye widened in surprise, as she nearly choked on the tea she was drinking. What? Mei yelled after she roughly swallowed her tea. I brought all the Jinchuriki back to life. Naruto said, activating his Tomo Rinnegan. The Mizukage gasped when she saw that Naruto possessed the legendary ocular dojutsu. I felt like all the Jinchuriki deserved another chance at life, since the Akatsuki stole their lives away from them. Okay, I can understand bringing Utakata back, because even though he was a missing nin he was never truly a bad person. But why did you bring that murdering bastard Yura back to life? He's the one who made academy students kill each other just to pass, and he persecuted and murdered hundreds of shinobi with Kekkei Genkei. Mei shouted in rage, slamming her fist onto the table. See, calm down Mei-chan. Naruto said nervously, as he placed a hand on the Mizukage's shoulder. I know Yura has done some awful things, but it wasn't his fault. Explain, Mei ordered, as she crossed her arms under her chest. When Yura was in power as the Yondaime Mizukage he was being influenced by Madara and Obito Uchiha. Naruto explained, earning a deep sigh from Mei. I had heard whispers and rumors that Yura was being controlled from the shadows. Mei said softly, as she rubbed her chin. Even so, Yura has done horrendous things that cannot be forgiven. I'm not asking you or your people to forgive him. Just give him a second chance to redeem himself and prove that he's not as terrible as people say. Naruto pleaded, taking a hold of Mei's hand. Please, all of us Jinchuriki have had incredibly difficult lives. Most of us were shunned and despised by our villages. Naruto looked into Mei's green eyes, as he placed his other hand over the seal on his stomach. I want to show the other Jinchuriki that people are now ready to accept them, and I want everyone to see that we Jinchuriki aren't the demons that dwell within us. I have far too much faith in you Naruto. Mei said, as she stared into Naruto's eyes. It goes against my better judgment, but I will allow Yura and Utakata back into the village if they wish to return. Naruto perked up when he heard this. But they will be under a watchful eye until I'm sure they can be fully trusted. That's all I ask, arigato Mei-chan. Naruto said with a wide smile, placing a gentle kiss on Mei's lips. Alright, that's enough. Mei said, giggling softly as a faint blush covered her face. Now, was there anything else you wished to tell me about? Yeah, there was 2 more things I wanted to tell you. Naruto said, as she sat back in his seat. Saiken and Isobu wished to be sealed back within Yura and Utakata. So the Biju wished to be sealed back within their Jinchuriki. I'm already letting those 2 back into the village if they wish, so if they want their Biju back they can have them. Mei said, earning a smile from Naruto. Great, I'll start looking for both of them as soon as we're done here. Naruto said, as he formed a kage bunshin. Ignoring the slight dizziness, Naruto sent the clone to speak with Sai, so that he could have some of his ink creatures start searching for Yura and Utakata. When the clone left the room, Naruto turned back to Mei with a nervous look on his face. "One last thing before I go, Mei-chan." "What is it, Naruto?" Mei asked, tilting her head in confusion at Naruto's sudden nervousness. "Obito Uchiha is still alive. I brought him back to life a few months ago," Naruto said, causing Mei's visible eye to widen in shock. "He's currently serving on Konoha's newly reformed police force." "Sai, you give me such head pain, Naruto," Mei said, as she rubbed her temples. "I've read the reports, so I know that Obito was being manipulated by Madara for decades. I trust your judgment, Naruto, so I won't question your decision. But I don't how the other Kage will take this news." "Oh, Gaara and Raikage Gigi already know about it," Naruto said, causing Mei to quirk an eyebrow. "They're both okay with it, but I still haven't told Tsuchikage Gigi yet." "That's quite a surprise. It's almost impossible to change that stubborn bastard A's mind," Mei said, as she let out a slight chuckle. "But with Silver Tongue, I'm sure it was easy for you to convince him. You won't have to worry about Obito," Naruto said, standing up from his seat. He walked over to Mei and kissed her on the cheek. A seal was placed on his chakra, and he's under careful surveillance. If he doesn't cause any problems, we were hoping to lessen the seal in a few years, so that he could use some of his chakra. But we sadly can't allow him to a shinobi ever again after what he's done. "Okay, I trust you and that pervert Kakashi to keep a watchful eye over him," Mei said, following Naruto to her front door. "Obito's not a bad guy, he was just dealt a shitty hand in life," Naruto said, as he stepped out onto Mei's porch. "But I know he wants to atone for his sins, and with Rin at his side I think he'll eventually find redemption." "Your heart is just too big, Naruto Uzumaki," Mei said, giving Naruto one last brief kiss. "It's amazing how you can always find the best in everyone. I made a promise to someone some time ago. I promised that I would bring peace to this world, and I'm going to do my best to prevent any more wars from happening," Naruto said, as an image of Nagato and Yahiko popped into his head. The blonde Jinchuriki pounded a fist over his heart, as grin spread across his face. "Believe it. If there's anyone who can accomplish that, it's you, Naruto," Mei thought with a small smile, as Naruto leapt onto an adjacent rooftop. 10 minutes later, Sakura's room. "Sakura-chan, you in there?" Naruto called out, as he knocked on the door to the Pinket's room. "Yeah, the door's unlocked," Sakura replied from within the room. Naruto opened the door and walked into Sakura's room. He was surprised to see the Pinket preparing messenger hawk. Sakura put 2 letters in a small container, and attached them to the hawk. Once the container was attached to the hawk's leg, Sakura released the bird out her opened window. "What's the messenger hawk for?" Naruto asked, as he took on Sakura's bed. "I sent a letter to Kakashi-sensei and Tsunade-sama," Sakura answered, sitting down next to Naruto. The blonde raised an eyebrow when he felt Sakura rest her head against his chest. "Sakura-chan, why are pressing your head against my chest?" Naruto asked, causing Sakura to look up him. Her emerald green eyes meeting his bright blue ones. "I just wanted to listen to your heartbeat," Sakura replied, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. "It helps calm me, and it lets me know that you're safe." "Sakura-chan, I'm fine," Naruto reassured in a soothing voice, rubbing small circles up and down Sakura's back. The blonde smiled warmly and kissed the top of Sakura's head. "I have you to thank for that. I know you're fine, Yubaka," Sakura said quietly, placing her head back against Naruto's chest. "Just let me do this, okay?" Fine, Naruto relented with a slight chuckle. "So what were in those letters you sent out?" "In the first letter I asked Kakashi-sensei if he knew where Zabuza's sword, because he was the last one to use it. Suigetsu was really excited to learn that he might get the sword back," Sakura answered, as she stared out the window across the room. "The second letter I detailed everything that's been happening to you to Tsunade-sama. Since she's back in Konoha, she'll have access to more medical resources than I have out here. Hopefully she can figure something out, and maybe even start researching a way to cure you. Knowing how Ba-chan is, she'll find something," Naruto said, giving Sakura's shoulder a slight squeeze. "So did Suigetsu find things for you guys to do yesterday?" "Yeah, he had Ino and I helped train a fresh batch of doctors at the hospital. Tenten was sent to help train a group of shinobi in their weapon handling skills." Conan went to assist the academy teachers in developing a new lesson plan. Enko, Shisui, and Sai all assisted the hunter Nin in some training exercises. Hinata helped several shinobi improve their hand-to-hand fighting techniques. Ryuzetsu and Tamari trained a new group of genin in some basic ninjutsu. And Choji used his increased size to help build several new buildings. Sounds like they kept you guys busy. Naruto commented with smile, earning a snort from Sakura. And what were you doing, mister? Sakura asked, turning her head to look at Naruto. The blonde's whole face turned red, as he avoided Sakura's gaze. You didn't come to the inn last night. So I'm gonna assume you had some fun with the Mizukage. You could say that, Naruto said nervously, as he rubbed the back of his head. Calm down, I'm not mad at you. Sakura said with a slight huff of annoyance. I said if the Mizukage tried anything to go along with, and she obviously tried something with you. Suddenly a small smirk spread across Sakura's face. Man, you should have seen Suigetsu's face when I told him you probably sleeping with Mizukage. I wish I had a camera on me, his expression was priceless. I bet it was. Naruto laughed, a toothy grin spreading across his face. Suddenly a knock came from Sakura's door. A second later Sai poked his head into the room. Oh good, I was afraid that you and Dickless were humping like horny rabbits, and I didn't wish to interrupt. Sai said bluntly, as he stepped into the room. Sakura's face burned bright red as she glared at Sai, and a slight growl escaped from Naruto's throat. What do you want, Sai? Naruto growled out through clenched teeth. I just came to inform you that I received your message. Sai replied, pulling Naruto's letter out of his pocket. I've sent out dozens of ink birds and land animals to search throughout the surrounding area. I also spoke with Chojuro, and he agreed to send out a handful of hunter nin to try and track Yura and Utakata. Oh, then good work, Sai. Naruto said in a surprised tone, earning a bright smile from the dark-haired man. You're free to go now. Okay, you two have fun now. Sai teased, dodging a fiercely thrown pillow from Sakura. I'll inform you if anything happens, Naruto. With that, Sai swiftly exited the room, leaving Naruto and Sakura alone once again. Kami, he's so annoying sometimes. Sakura huffed out, as she crossed her arms under her chest. Yeah, you said it, Naruto said with a slight groan, as he laid back on the bed. So what do we do now? Sakura asked, lying down next to Naruto. She placed her head back on his chest, as Naruto pulled her close. We wait until we get some info on Yura and Utakata's locations. Naruto answered, as he slowly closed his eyes. Well, hopefully we'll get to relax for a bit. Sakura breathed out, as she snuggled up closer to Naruto and closed her eyes as well. 4 days later. This is boring as fuck. Naruto complained, as he brought another stack of papers into Mei's office. Oh hush now, Mei said with hidden smile, glancing over another paper before placing it in her ever-growing pile. All your friends are busy helping around the village, and with your condition this is the only job we could find for you. When Naruto slumped into a seat in front of her, Mei got up from her chair and walked over to Naruto. She leaned forward and placed a gentle kiss on Naruto's lips. And I do rather enjoy your company. Ow is no fun, and Chojuro gets so embarrassed when I tease. It's rather refreshing having you around. Well, I guess if it makes you happy I'm alright with staying. Naruto muttered, as a slight blush spread across his face. That's what I wanted to hear. Mei said with a smile, as she sat back into her chair. So has Sai found anything yet? No, Naruto said, running a hand down his face. And I'm seriously going stir-crazy just sitting around and doing nothing. Sai, my hunter nin haven't found anything yet either. They thought they found a trail leading to Yura, but it turned out to be a dead end. Mei sympathized with Naruto, as she leaned back in her seat. Don't worry Naruto, we'll find them, it will just take some time. I know, Naruto said with a sigh, as he clasped his hands. I just want to keep my promise to the Biju is all. Mei smiled at Naruto and was about to say something, but the door to her office suddenly burst open. Naruto turned in his chair, and was surprised to see Sakura rushing into Mei's office with Ao hot on her heels. Haruno-san, you cannot just storm into the Mizukage's office like this. Ao exclaimed, as he grabbed Sakura's shoulder. Let go. I have to speak with Naruto immediately. Sakura yelled, as she shook off Ao's hand. Ao, let her be. Mei shouted, causing Ao's eye to widen. But Mizukage-sama, Ao started to say, but he was cut off by Mei. Enough. She's fine Ao. It must be very important for her to storm into here like this. Mei said, earning a grateful look from Sakura. What is it, Sakura-chan? Naruto asked, as he stood up from his seat. Is everything alright? Did something happen to anyone on the team? No, Naruto, a messenger hawk just arrived from Konoha. Sakura said excitedly, as she began to rifle through her pack. After a few moments the pinkett pulled out a letter, and a small bottle that looked to be filled with pills. I got a reply from Tsunade-sama. Naruto's eyes widened when he heard this. She said in the letter that she's seen and read of various poisons that produce the symptoms that you're experiencing. But she's never heard of a poison displaying all of the effects at a single time. Sakura held up the small bottle, and handed it to Naruto. She sent over some pills that may help negate the effects of the poison for a little while. Really? Naruto exclaimed, as he opened the bottle and took out a pill. The pill was quite small and blue and green in color, and was giving off a strange odor. So this might get rid of the poison's effects. If it works, yes. But it would only be temporarily, Naruto. Sakura said in a warning tone. These won't cure you. We'll have to do more testing once we get back to Konoha. Well, here goes nothing, Naruto said, as he popped the pill into his mouth. With a gulp Naruto forced down the foul-tasting pill. The blonde's eyes widened, as he felt the pill's effects almost immediately. Holy shit. Is it working? Sakura asked, causing a toothy grin to spread across Naruto's face. Hell yeah, it's working, Naruto exclaimed, as he felt energy course through his body. I feel good as new. Yeah, I need to take advantage of this. Letting a childish cheer, Naruto hopped out of a nearby window, and began to sprint across Kirigakure's rooftops. Naruto! Sakura called out, as she ran over to the window. Gah, that baka. I'll let the kid have his fun. Mei said, as returned to her paperwork. He hasn't been able to let loose for weeks, so this is good for him. Yeah, but I don't know when the pill will wear off. Sakura said in a quiet voice, taking a seat in front of Mei's desk. He's got the rest of the pills right? Mei asked, earning a silent nod from Sakura. Well, if they wear off he can just take another one. Plus if anything were to happen to him one of my shinobi will help him. So you have no need to worry. Yeah, I guess you're right. Sakura said, as a small smile spread across her face. I guess it is good for him to blow off some steam. 2 minutes later, forest just outside of Kirigakure. Fuck yeah. Naruto cheered, as he destroyed another series of trees with a thrown Rasenshuriken. The blonde laughed like a child, as he sprinted through the forest surrounding Kiri. Haha, I haven't been able to let loose in ages. Naruto activated his Rinnegan and began teleport around the forest. The Jinchuriki was having too much fun to notice the Kiri hunter Nin keeping a close eye on him, watching from a distance to make sure nothing went wrong. Another tree burst into splinters, as Naruto hit it with a Raiden Rasengan. Man, this feels great. Hey Gak. Me. Naruto stopped dead in tracks when he heard the familiar rumbling voice in his head. He immediately sat down, and tried to concentrate as best as he could. Kurama, is that you? Yeah, me. I can barely hear you, and you keep getting cut off. Naruto thought, as he suddenly felt Kurama flare his chakra. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Kurama said clearly, causing a massive grin to spread across Naruto's face. Yeah, you're coming in clearly now, buddy. Oh, it's so good to hear your voice. It's been over a month. Naruto exclaimed, as he appeared in front of the Biju. Kurama flinched in annoyance at Naruto's loud tone. Keep your voice down, Gaki. It's good to hear from you, I was really starting to get worried. Kurama said, earning a toothy grin from Naruto. Ah, I didn't know you cared so much. Naruto said, causing Kurama to release a throaty growl. Shut your trap, Gaki. Kurama roared, as he bared his fangs. Well, it seems that those pills you took have weakened the poison in your system enough to allow us to finally speak. So it is a poison. Naruto said with a frown. But who could have done this, and why can't you just remove the poison from my body? I have no idea where the poison is in your system. Kurama admitted with a deep sigh. I detected it when it first entered your body, but it disappeared so quickly that I figured it was nothing. But after a while I knew something was up, and I began to search for poisons in your system. I don't have a clue where the poison is though. It's almost like the poison was designed specifically to affect Jinchuriki. And their Biju. You don't think the Akatsuki had something to do with this? Naruto asked, earning a low grumble from Kurama. I highly doubt that. But the Akatsuki may have been developing this poison to help weaken Jinchuriki, so they could capture them more easily. Kurama replied, as Naruto released a groan of annoyance. Damn it, what the hell is happening to me? Naruto asked himself, as he stared at the ground. I don't know kid, but something doesn't feel right to me. So watch your back, Kurama warned, as he leaned his head down closer to Naruto. I'd hate to see something happen to you when you're doing such a great job uniting humans and Biju. Thanks Kurama, Naruto said, as he gave the Kyuubi a fist bump. I'll need you soon, because I may need to contact Saiken and Isobu. Alright Naruto, I'll let them know that you'll be contacting them soon. Kurama said, as he turned his head away from Naruto. And please be careful Gaki. Don't worry Kurama, I'll stay safe. Naruto said, as he exited his mind. When Naruto reopened his eyes he found Sai staring at him, just a few inches from his face. Gah, what the fuck Sai? Naruto jumped backwards, breathing heavily as he glared at Sai. So you're awake. Sai said with a creepy smile. Your face was really weird a minute ago. What do you want Sai? Naruto exclaimed, as he slowed his rapidly beating heart. I just thought you'd like to know that one of my ink birds spotted Yagura. Sai replied, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. He's near a large waterfall about 2 miles south of the village. Great, I'll start making my way there now. Naruto said, as he placed a hand on Sai's shoulder. You're coming with me too. Meet me at the village gates in 10 minutes, I'm gonna go grab Shisui as well. With that Naruto ran off to find his team's Uchiha. 5 minutes later, Kirigakure. Sai, most of those hunter nin are really talented, but some of them are rather rough around the edges. Shisui said, as he and Anko exited the hunter nin's headquarters. I hear you, and I didn't like how some of them were ogling me, fucking perverts. Anko said, crossing her arms under her chest. Isn't that kinda hypocritical coming from you? I mean you're one of the biggest perverts I know. Shisui asked, cocking his head slightly. This caused Anko's face to burn red in embarrassment. Shut up, Anko exclaimed, punching Shisui in the arm. I'll admit that I'm a perv, but I'm only a perv for Naruto now. Okay. Shisui relented, chuckling lightly under his breath. I wonder where Sai is. He wasn't here to help us today. He's been helping Naruto try to find Yagura and Utakata. Anko said, stretching her arms behind her head. But they haven't had much luck so far. Shisui opened his mouth to speak, but he was cut off by a loud shout. Shisui! Naruto yelled, as he sprinted up to the duo. Naruto! Anko asked in a low tone, as she narrowed her eyes. Her eyes suddenly widened when she spotted the bright orange clothes and blonde hair. That is the Gaki. I thought he wasn't supposed to be overexerting himself. Stupid little shit is gonna get himself hurt. Anko growled slightly, and immediately began to storm towards the advancing Naruto. Hey, what do you think you, however, was cut off when Naruto pulled her in for a searing kiss. Anko was taken aback by the surprise kiss. But after a moment Anko let out a low moan, and deepened the kiss. When the two separated, Naruto had a stupid grin on his face, while Anko looked slightly dazed. It's great to see you Anko-chan. How are you doing? Naruto asked, as he held Anko in his arms. I thought you were supposed to be taking it easy. And managed to say, still recovering from Naruto's passionate kiss. Oh, Naruto exclaimed, as he pulled out a small bottle of pills. Sakura-chan brought me some pills that Tsunade-bachan sent over. They get rid of the poison's effects for a while. Naruto suddenly grabbed Anko's shoulders, and his grin widened. But that's not the best part. The pills weakened the poison enough so that I can talk with Kurama again. Really? You were able to speak with the fuzzball? Anko asked, earning an energetic nod from Naruto. This caused a large smile spread across Anko's face. That's great news Naruto. Yeah it is. Naruto cheered, but his happy demeanor quickly fell and a small frown replaced his glowing grin. But these pills won't cure me. We still need to do more testing when we get back home. And Kurama confirmed that I definitely was poisoned. He can't seem to flush out the poison, and I have no clue who would poison me. Don't worry Naruto, we'll get through this. We'll find out what's wrong with you and cure you. Enko said with a warm smile, placing a gentle kiss on Naruto's cheek. Clears throat. I assume you came here to tell us something, Naruto. Shisui said, as Naruto and Enko quickly separated. Yeah, I came here to get you Shisui. Naruto said, causing Shisui to quirk an eyebrow. One of Sai's ink creatures found Yagura, and you're coming with me to make sure nothing goes wrong. Now hurry up, Sai's already waiting for us at the village's gates. Alright then, let's get going. Shisui said, as he ran past Naruto. Enko-chan, let the other girls know where I am so they don't worry about me. Naruto said, placing a gentle kiss on Enko's lips. I'll be back later. Go get him Gaki. Enko called out as Naruto sprinted to catch up to Shisui. A few minutes later Naruto and Shisui arrived at the gates to Kirigakure. They quickly spotted Sai sitting down near the opened gates. The pale-skinned man appeared to drawing something on a scroll when Naruto and Shisui arrived. But before either could see what he was painting, Sai quickly rolled the scroll up and placed it into his pack. What were you drawing, Sai? Shisui asked, as Sai stood back onto his feet. If you must know, I was just doing some sketches for a portrait I plan on painting once we return home. Sai replied with a fake smile, which creeped Shisui out. If you don't mind, please don't ask any more questions regarding the painting. It's very special, and it's meant to be a surprise. Fine with me, Shisui said with a shrug of his shoulders. If you two are done, we need to get going. Naruto said, getting Sai and Shisui's attention. Sai, we'll need you to lead the way. Shisui, I need you to be close by, and ready to put Yagura in a genjutsu just in case things start to get really violent. Sai, while Shisui and I move in on Yagura, you just hang back and be ready to intervene if we need you. Do you both understand your roles? Both Shisui and Sai nodded in acknowledgement. Alright, let's head out. Sai, you take point. 15 minutes later, 2 miles south of Kirigakure. We're approaching the target, Sai said, as all three teammates stopped on a branch. A small ink bird dove down, and landed on Sai's extended arm. Yagura is located about 100 yards ahead. Okay, Sai, you hang back here. Naruto said, causing Sai to nod before he leapt into a nearby tree. Shisui, you hang close by me, but stay hidden. Shisui gave a quick thumbs up, and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Right, let's do this. Naruto hopped down to the ground below, and began to slowly approach where Yagura was located. As Naruto neared, he could make out the low rumblings of a large waterfall ahead. When Naruto reached the edge of the tree line, he found a large crystal-clear pond with a roaring waterfall at its far end. Scanning the area, Naruto spotted Yagura sitting alone along the water's edge. The former Jinchuriki seemed to be meditating, with his large staff lying by his side. Yagura had sensed Naruto and his two team members approaching well before they arrived at his location. Naruto's two teammates were doing a decent job hiding their chakra signatures, but Naruto made no attempt to mask his own as he came closer. When Naruto had reached the edge of the tree light, Yagura's eyes slowly opened, revealing his pink pupil-less eyes. A small smirk spread across Yagura's face when he heard Naruto's footsteps approaching footsteps. I had a feeling you'd be coming for me eventually. Yagura said, continuing to stare at the pond before him. You didn't do a very good job hiding your approach, and you can tell your teammates to come out of hiding. I don't plan on doing any fighting. Haha, I wasn't really trying to be sneaky. Naruto said with a grin, as he sat down next to Yagura. If you knew I was coming, you must know why I'm here. You're here to bring me back to my home village. Yagura said, staring at his reflection in the water. I would like to return, and atone for my horrendous actions, but the villagers would never accept me back. I have come to terms with this, and I plan on watching over Kirigakure from the shadows. I was weak, and allowed my actions to be controlled by outside forces. But the current Mizukage, Meiturumi, ensured me that you'd be allowed back into the village. Naruto said, earning a chuckle from Yagura. So she became Mizukage after I was killed. Yagura said with a small smile. She was always such a strong and fierce woman. But she was also extremely caring and understanding. I can't think of a better person to lead the village. So you'll come back to the village? Naruto asked, causing Yagura to release a short sigh. If Mei is okay with my return, then I guess I can come back. I really do wish to right the wrongs I've committed. Yagura turned to face Naruto, and for the first time Naruto saw the self-hatred in Yagura's eyes. You gave me a second chance at life, Naruto, and I don't plan on wasting it. I dedicate all of my time and effort to protecting and improving Kiri, so that I can lift weight of guilt off my shoulders. Yagura, don't beat yourself up so much. Naruto said, placing his hand on Yagura's shoulder. Yes, you did some really bad things. But you were being controlled by Madara Uchiha. So it isn't entirely your fault. You still need to atone for what you've done, but you're not an evil person. Thanks, Naruto, that really means a lot to me. Yagura said, as he wiped a tear from his eye. Alright, I'll return home. I'm ready to face this. That's great to hear, Naruto said, helping Yagura to his feet. Before you go, there's one more thing I need to discuss with you. Does it have something to do with Isobu? Yagura questioned, as he placed his staff on his back. How did you know? Naruto asked with a surprised look on his face. Recently I've felt like Isobu has been calling out to me. Yagura explained, as he turned to gaze at the waterfall behind them. I didn't have the greatest relationship with Isobu, but I did manage to master his power at a young age. So we do have a connection of sorts. However, I cannot figure out why the beast is trying to contact me. Isobu wishes to be sealed back within you, Naruto said, causing Yagura's eyes to widen. All the Biju wish to be sealed back within their former Jinchuriki. They want to work with humans, and learn to coexist with us. You're lying, Yagura said, not turning around to face Naruto. Isobu despised being sealed within me. He hated humans for what they did to him. He'd never want to be trapped inside me. You can speak to him yourself, and see that he does want to work with you. Naruto said. This time Yagura did turn around to face the blonde Jinchuriki. Isobu has seen how Kurama and I get along, and wants a similar relationship with you. Yagura, Biju have feelings just like us, and even though they may deny it, they crave interaction with others. You said I can speak with him myself? Yagura asked, earning a quick nod from Naruto. The former Mizukage closed his eyes, as he thought of his answer. Yagura's eyes slowly opened, and he met Naruto's gaze. Sigh, alright, I will speak with Isobu. If you are telling the truth, and he does wish to be sealed back within me, I will grant his wish. Awesome. I'm sure Isobu will be excited to see you. Naruto exclaimed with a grin, as he contacted Kurama. You hear all that, buddy? Call Isobu, and tell him to start making his way towards Kirigakure. Yeah, I heard you, Gaki. Kurama replied in a sleepy tone, as he let out a short yawn. I'll contact that overgrown turtle, and relay him all the information. Great. Thanks, Kurama. Now we just have to find Utakata, and then we can start making our way to Iwagakure. Naruto exclaimed, causing Kurama to flinch at the volume of Naruto's voice. That's great, Naruto, but fucking keep it down. Kurama groaned out, as he began to contact Isobu. Sigh, Shisui, you can come out now, Naruto said into his headset. Seconds later, both Shisui and Sai landed in front of Naruto and Yagura. Yagura has agreed to come back to Kiri with us, so we can head back now. But before anyone could make a move to leave, a masked Kiri hunter nin dropped down next to him. I'm apologize for the interruption, Uzumaki-san, but my team has just located Utakata. He's traveling down a small dirt path about a half-mile east of here. The hunter nin reported, as he pulled out a small map and pointed out Utakata's location. If we leave now, we can catch up to him in just a few minutes. Alright, change of plans, Naruto said, getting everyone's attention. Shisui, you escort Yagura back to Kiri and report to Mei. Sai, you're sticking with me to help support the hunter nin just in case Utakata starts to put up a fight. We don't want to kill him, so non-lethal attacks only. Sound good to everyone? Shisui, Sai, Yagura, and the hunter nin all nodded in understanding. Okay, Shisui, you head out now. Shisui and Yagura nodded before they took off down the path Sai had initially led them down. Naruto then turned to the hunter nin. You're leading the way. Sai, let's go. Pumping chakra into their legs, the three shinobi jumped into the trees overhead. About 2 minutes later, Naruto and Sai linked up with the rest of the hunter nin's team. Now with a 6-man team, they began to track Utakata. The hunter nin's intel proved to be correct. They found Utakata only a short distance from where they had last spotted him. But as Naruto's team approached, Utakata suddenly stopped walking. Naruto's eyes widened when Utakata suddenly spun around, bubble pipe already raised to his mouth. Scatter! Naruto screamed, as a barrage of explosive bubbles detonated where his team had been moments before. Luckily Sai and the Hunter Nin had reacted fast enough, and were unharmed and hidden amongst the trees surrounding them. All of the Hunter Nin brought out their Senbon needles, ready to paralyze Utakata. Sai unrolled his scroll, and prepared his paintbrush. Poking his head out, Naruto spotted Utakata scanning the trees for them. The blonde Jinchuriki took a deep breath, and leapt out his hiding place. Hold your fire Utakata. Utakata's head immediately snapped towards Naruto's position, but he stopped when he clear look at Naruto. It's you, Utakata said in a stoic tone, as he lowered his pipe. When Naruto landed in front of him, Utakata put his bubble pipe back into his light blue kimono. I thought Hunter Nin were after me again. Well, there are some Hunter Nin with me, Naruto said, causing Utakata's eyes to narrow dangerously. Quickly realizing his mistake, Naruto clarified the situation. But they're not here to kill you, I swear. They were helping me track you down. Why were you searching for me? Utakata asked, his eyes still narrowed. I came to ask if you wanted return to Kirigakure, Naruto said with his usual fox-like grin. The new Mizukage, Terumi, agreed to let you come back to the village. No thanks, Utakata said, turning around so that he could continue walking down the path. But he was stopped when Naruto grabbed his shoulder. Why won't you come back? Naruto asked, a serious look in his eyes. I won't force you back, but I'd like to know why you won't return home. Home, Utakata parroted with a dark chuckle. I wouldn't call a place that makes academy students kill each other home. I wouldn't call a place that shunned me and treated me like trash home. There is nothing for me in Kiri. I read your file, Naruto suddenly said, causing Utakata to quirk an eyebrow. You used to be loyal Kiri shinobi. That was before the Yondaime Mizukage started sending academy students to kill each other, and mercilessly killing those with Kekkei Genkei. Utakata said, as he shook Naruto's hand off his shoulder. I refused to return to such a horrible place. But Yagura was being controlled by Madara Uchiha. He never meant to do all those horrible things, and he intends to spend the rest of his life making up for all the pain he's caused. Naruto pleaded, as Utakata's jaw clenched. The village has changed greatly since you've been gone. Terumi has helped the village thrive. She's a very kind and caring woman, who would never hurt those who don't deserve it. I just can't go back Naruto, Utakata struggled to say, as he clenched his fist. The former Jinchuriki hung his head, letting his long hair hide his face. I cannot return. Is this because of Hotaru? Naruto asked, causing Utakata's head to suddenly snap up. You feel like you abandoned her. You want to find her before you do anything else, I'm right aren't I? How do you know that? Utakata asked, letting out a shaky breath. Your eyes are full of sadness and regret. Naruto answered, causing Utakata's eyes to widen in surprise. Hotaru may have annoyed you, but she did mean a lot to you. You care deeply about her, and you want to find her again to show that you didn't abandon her. Naruto once again placed his hand on Utakata's shoulder, and gave a slight squeeze. If you return to Kiri, I'm sure Mei would assist you in your search. She would help me, Utakata repeated with a skeptical look. I told you, Mei is a very caring person. I'm positive she'll spare some manpower to help you, Naruto said, as a small grin spread across his face. And if she doesn't, I'll convince her to. Sigh, then I guess I can return home, Utakata said. When Naruto was about to speak again, Utakata stopped him. If you're going to tell me about Saiken, I already know. Naruto's eyes widened when Utakata said this. I had a better relationship with Saiken than most Jinchuriki. He found me one day while I was searching for Hotaru, and told me that he wished to be sealed back within me. I told him I'd think about it, and to wait for a signal from me. Will you let him be resealed within you? Naruto asked, causing Utakata to slowly nod his head. Since I'm returning to Kiri, I might as well grant Saiken his wish as well, Utakata said, as he gave Naruto a small smile. You won't regret this, Utakata, Naruto said in a warm tone. Once you find Hotaru, you'll be able to start over again. I think I'd like that, Utakata said, as Naruto began to lead him back towards Kirigakure. 2 days later, Kirigakure gates. Well, I guess we're off, Naruto said to the small group that had come to see his team off. Mei-chan, you'll help Utakata find Hotaru, right? I already have 2 teams of hunter nin searching for her. Mei said with a smile. Utakata would go too, but he's still weak from the sealing ceremony. Don't remind me, that freaking sucked. Utakata, now dressed in a Kiri shinobi uniform, said as he leaned against Chojuro for support. You doing alright, Yagura? Naruto asked the Sanbi Jinchuriki. Yagura was still dressed in his normal attire, but he now had a Kiri headband tied around his arm. I'm faring slightly better than Utakata, but I'm still rather exhausted. Yagura said, using his staff to stand upright. That's great to hear, Naruto said with a smile. But just then Naruto noticed that something seemed off. Then he realized that someone was missing. Hey, where's Suigetsu? He's traveling to Konoha right now. Chojuro said, causing Naruto to raise a blonde eyebrow. Your Hokage agreed to return Zabuza's blade, on the stipulation that Suigetsu come to the village and pick up personally. Oh, well, that good for him. Hopefully he'll run into Karen and Jugo, I know he really wanted to see them again. Naruto said, as he turned to the rest of his group. You all ready to leave? We've been ready to go for 5 minutes, Yubaka. Sakura said in a slightly annoyed tone, as she tapped her foot. Now let's get going, I want us in Iwa before the end of next week. Alright, we're going, Naruto said with a grin, as he turned to Mei on more time. Are you sure you don't want this, Mei-chan? Naruto pulled out a 3-pronged kunai, and offered it to Mei. I told you before, I plan on making a lot more diplomatic excursions to Konoha. Mei said in a sultry tone, kissing Naruto on the cheek. I look forward to your visits. Naruto said with a lustful smirk. But he suddenly yelped when Sakura grabbed his ear, and began to drag him off. That's enough. We're leaving now, Sakura exclaimed, as she dragged Naruto away from Mei. Bye Mei-chan. Bye everyone, Naruto yelled, as he waved to everyone back at the game. Come visit sometime Naruto, I'd love to spar with you. Yagura called out to Naruto's form. Me too, Utakata exclaimed with a small smirk. Ow, ow, that's enough Sakura-chan. Naruto whined, as Sakura let go of his ear. Damn it, that really hurt. The blonde Jinchuriki mumbled to himself, as rubbed his sore ear. I wouldn't have to do that if you weren't making a scene at the village gates. Sakura said, earning a nervous chuckle from Naruto. I guess that was kinda inappropriate. Naruto admitted, as he rubbed the back of his head. Sakura jumped when Naruto suddenly hoisted her onto his back. Man, why does forehead get all the attention? Ino asked with a small pout. But she screamed in surprise when she too felt herself lifted into the air. Looking around, Ino saw that each of the girls had a kage bunshin carrying them. To Iwa we go. The Narutos cheered, as they took off down the path. Thank you for watching, please make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day.